Okay, Sachin is joining. Okay, so let me go here. I'm using Microsoft Whiteboard for the first time. Okay, so today we are going to discuss with reference to traffic shaping. Okay, so like, hey, it really good, looks good. Okay, so traffic shaping. Okay, so see, you may come across a situation, okay, that, for an example, okay, let's say you might be having a firewall, okay, you might have a firewall, and this device here, let's say it is connected to the internet, and this ISP link is 10 Mbps, okay, that's the bandwidth that you have for the ISP. And here, this is your LAN traffic. Maybe this is handling your users traffic, your internal servers traffic. Okay, it's like you may be dealing with lot of traffics, lot types of traffics. Okay, including your IPs, callings, server-related traffics, internal traffic, external traffic, whatsoever. The point is, assume if your traffic is till 10 Mbps, if the firewall is receiving the traffic up to 10 Mbps, the firewall do not has any issue to send it further, right? Because your ISP can manage up to 10 Mbps. But if same traffic is then increased, okay, to 11 Mbps, for an example, now the incoming traffic is 11 Mbps, then the firewall will send it further as well, yes or no? But at the ISP level, 1 Mbps will be dropped, correct? Because the ISP will not handle more than 10 Mbps of traffic. That is what the bandwidth that you paid for. Yes or no? I believe I am audible, right?
Yes, sir.
You are, yes.
Okay. So, you guys go in a dead silence, so I like feel that
No,
maybe
I was
I'm
on mute, so I'm just talking on mute.
okay. So see here, so it will drop 1 Mbps. So that's fine, okay, because I have paid for 10 Mbps, and if somehow I'm getting a highest of the data, even greater than that, that will result into a certain drop. Okay. So now, but the challenge here is, okay, the thing which is bugging me is I do not care if it is dropped, but the issue is I do not have a control what will be dropped. Okay, so for an example, this 11 Mbps of data constitutes of, let's say, a YouTube traffic. For an example, it is related to YouTube. Someone is also accessing a Gmail. Okay, someone may be working on Zoom. So Zoom traffic is also there. Okay, and let us take that there are some other traffics as well, like some other web-based traffic that is also there. You can include any other websites and all. Okay, so that is going on. Okay, so all these together. Now assume that YouTube constitutes 2 Mbps of data. Gmail is using 1 Mbps. Okay, your web traffic is using 4 Mbps of data, and let's assume Zoom is also using 4 Mbps of data. Zoom. Okay. Let me admit everyone. Okay. Okay, fine. So see, what I'm saying is, so YouTube is using or like sending 2 Mbps of data, okay? Gmail is sending 1 Mbps of data, Zoom is trying to send 4 Mbps of data, and other web related traffic is like sending 4 Mbps of data, which all together added up and constituted total 11 Mbps of data is being sent to the FortiGate firewall. Now, when the ISP is dropping 1 Mbps, now this 1 Mbps of data that the ISP is dropping, because it only has a 10 Mbps of bandwidth. Now this 1 Mbps may include some YouTube traffic, may include some Gmail traffic, may include a certain amount of Zoom, and may include a certain amount of some other web traffic. Yes or no? It can drop any of that or all? Yes?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, some of them. So you might come across a situation where the people may be reporting that, hey, my mails are failed to send, or I'm sometimes not able to receive the email. I have to refresh it multiple times. I am facing some audio video issue with reference to Zoom meetings. It works, but after a certain moment of time, there is a glitch kind of a thing. It is working, but it's the like people on the other end are saying that the audio is not that good, your video is not that good, it is getting its stuck. Okay, so that is what I'm getting. Certain websites are like working, but I have to refresh it multiple times. So you may see the issue reported for a lot of or for almost all of the applications that one may be accessing, right? Now, because there is a drop, 1 Mbps traffic is getting dropped, that may contain that 100 kbps of Zoom is getting dropped, 50 kbps of Gmail is getting dropped, maybe other 100 kbps of YouTube is getting dropped. So there is a certain drop. Now, assume a company like Network Kings, okay, or a institution-based company who is like giving the online trainings, online classes and everything. What do you think? Which traffic is much more important? Zoom? So the company may say that, hey, okay, if like someone is having issue with the YouTubes and all, that is fine with me. Maybe Gmail is certainly getting stopped and all, but whenever the traffic is high, okay, fine. But at no point of time, the Zoom traffic should be getting dropped, right? You drop all the things that you want, but do not drop the Zoom traffic, because my classes is going on. There are a lot of important, my like business is dependent upon the Zoom. So do not drop that traffic. Now, if I go with that request to the ISP, ISP will modify his settings in order to ensure that, okay, fine, you have bought a 10 Mbps of link, so okay, I will not drop the Zoom traffic, I will drop everything else if in case it is needed. No, the ISP will simply say, okay, if you have such a requirement, please increase your bandwidth, right? So that's just in simplest term, pay me some extra bucks so that I can give you more bandwidth, right? That is what they want. Okay?
Yes.
And on the firewall, can you control this? No. You want to control what should be dropped and what should not in such a situation. So there are two ways to address this. First, either you increase your ISP bandwidth so that you do not come across such a congestion situation where a certain amount of data has to be dropped, or second, you control your internal traffic. That means you will say that, hey, YouTube will not be allowed, or you will limit their traffic with reference to a certain applications, right? You have to do it. Now, how you will do that? How you will do it? That is where traffic shaping comes into picture. Now, before I go into traffic shaping, let me introduce to a term called QoS. that is quality of service. Okay, this is stand for quality of service. Quality of service means you want to improve the quality of a certain application or a certain traffic. In short, you want to ensure that there should not be any issue with a certain application traffic or a certain specific traffic. Quality. Okay. I may be dropping anything in the world, but I will always ensure, okay, that a certain traffic is always treated in such a manner that those people will never see any sort of an issue. How they are going to do that? Now, in order to do the quality of service, there are two things that you can implement in order to have a QoS. First thing is DSCP. Okay. Second is traffic shipper. Two things. You can configure DSCP or you can configure traffic shipper. Now, what is DSCP? See, if I'm not wrong, see, I'm not a full form guy, but DSCP full form is what? Hey. DSCP full form in networks, right? Yeah, differentiated services code point. Okay, fine, whatever it may be, this one. Now, say, see here, you will be using DSCP when. See, what does the DSCP do? DSCP is actually will modify the bits into your IP header. So it's a 6-bit combination. But in general, it is 8 bits, out of which 2 bits are reserved. Okay, so that's why since 2 bits are reserved, so we say only 6-bit combination. Okay, because 2 bits are reserved. Okay, so in the IP header I showed you, there was a toss field. Remember?
Yes.
Again. Remember this toss. This is your IP header structure. In that there's a toss field. Okay, so in that 6 bits will decide that how a specific packet will be treated. Okay, so there are certain codes. Now let me show you the DSCP codes. Now see, we do not have to worry for all these. Okay, what is the value that I have to do and all those things. We do not have to worry on to that part. Okay, why? Let me show you. There's already a predefined chart. Okay, so if you go in here, you can see now this one will be built. Okay. Yeah, see here. Do you see this values? These values, do you see that? 001 000. See here, these are 6 bits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every bit will tell how a traffic will be treated. Okay, there is a complete list of charts. You may find it for whatsoever the traffic it is. Okay, see here, everything will be in there. See, now this one, where it is. Okay, this will be give you clearer. Now see, for an example, if someone says that, hey, I have to improve the quality of my IP phones. Okay, I should not hear any sound of glitch or like audio loss or anything sort of that. No matter what happens, my IP phone quality should be really good. So that means I will ensure that the packet that has been sent with reference to VoIP, okay, that will be treated as a utmost priority. How will I do that? DSCP value is this. If you want to treat your VoIP traffic, so that is 101.110. Okay, now if I put this value whosoever or wheresoever, that will simply tell the other next hop device as how to process the packet. Now please be careful what I'm saying. I'm saying DSCP, okay, DSCP actually tells next hop device, next hop, okay, as how to treat the packet. So DSCP never influence yourself. So if I have configured DSCP on this firewall, that doesn't mean that my FortiGate firewall will be processing the packet in a certain manner. No. It is that when the FortiGate will send the packet out, it will modify the IP header toss field, and in that toss, it will add the certain value. Okay, this is added into the toss field. And since that packet is now received on the next hop device, let's say it's a router. Now, when the router will read the IP header information, there the router will know, okay, fine, this is a VoIP traffic, so I have to treat it at the parity. So it will give that preference to that specific packet. Clear? So DSCP always influence the behavior of the next hop, how it has to treat a packet, or how a packet will be treated by the next hop device. Clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, with reference, like I mentioned, DSCP value, what will be the DSCP values and all? How will I come to know that? It's none of your concern. They will give you, or you can simply Google it for any specific traffic that they want you to treat it, and you can simply add that DSCP value. And it's very, very easy, man. Believe me, it's very easy in the FortiGate firewall, even not a single click. You simply have to type it and press OK and done. I will show you when I will do the configuration. Okay, DSCP is nothing to worry about. Now, so you can influence the behavior of the other device as how they will be treating a specific packet by implementing DSCP. Okay. Now, be careful here. Whenever you have a setup like this, where you have FortiGate firewall, you have a router here, you may be having a router here, right? So DSCP, the question comes that, hey, where I have to configure the DSCP? On the router 1, on the FortiGate, or on the router 2, where I have to configure? See, the answer is simple. You want that packet to be treated, let's say we will take the VoIP packet itself. You want that the VoIP traffic should be treated on the priority. Okay. So you will configure the DSCP on the router 1, of course, because the packet, let's say here is the switch. Okay. If the switch can understand DSCP, then also it's good. If the switch, I'm again repeating, if it's a layer 3 switch, it is possible that the switch may also understand the DSCP. Okay, it can read the IP header if it's a layer 3 switch. But if it's a layer 2 switch, it do not give a damn, because it will never see the IP header in the first place, right? Does layer 2 switch sees the IP header?
No.
No. Okay, so that's why I'm making that point clear. If it's a layer 3 switch, then of course you can this will see the DSCP, hence you also might have to configure the DSCP here. Okay, but let's assume it's a layer 2 switch. Then if the traffic is incoming on the switch, fine, switch will send it further. Here you have to configure DSCP. Okay, now this will modify the toss field send to the FortiGate firewall. FortiGate firewall will read that information. FortiGate firewall will say, okay, fine, I have to treat it on priority. FortiGate firewall will send it further. So does the router 2 will do also that. Now router 2 will also read that information and it will say, okay, fine, I will send it further as an important. But what if there is a reply? If there is a reply, then have you configured DHCP and router 2? No. Hence, the reply packet will not be treated on basis of a given preference, neither by router 2 nor by FortiGate, unless it reaches the router 1. So it will of no sense. So of course you have to also configure DHCP here. Clear? Clear? Makes sense? Because when there is a reply traffic, that reply traffic should also be treated on the priority, right? It's not only that you want to send the traffic out, you also want to treat the reply traffic out. Because when you say 10 Mbps of bandwidth you have, that includes your download and upload both, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So you also have to ensure that the reply traffic is also getting the same preference or same treatment. So this is why you have to configure DHCP on the edge device as well. Okay, that is what the case is. Now, like I mentioned, DHCP is always used to influence the behavior of the other device, next hop device. Okay, so how the next device will treat that packet, that is what the DHCP will tell. But what about the same device? I want that this device is like, let's say for example, in this case, I want that, okay, I have configured the DHCP. So firewall is modifying the choice field and it is sending the router 2. So router 2 is doing the action according to that. Okay. But what about the firewall? Why the firewall is not taking the control? It should also do the same thing. If you want to do that, there you have to implement traffic shaping. Now, traffic shapers do not influence the behavior of the next hop device. It never says that, hey, you have to treat this packet with a certain urgency or you have to give a special preference to a certain traffic. It never says that to the next hop device. No, that is only meant for himself. I will be giving a specific preference to a certain traffic. Now just assume, if you have a setup like this, FortiGate, router, and then the ISP, okay? Here you have a switch. Now instead of configuring the DHCP on the FortiGate and the router, if you simply configure traffic shaper onto the FortiGate firewall, so so you are telling FortiGate firewall that, hey, you have to give the preference to some specific traffic. Let's assume Zoom traffic. So that means FortiGate will itself send the Zoom first, right? When it is sending the Zoom traffic first, that means router will be sending the Zoom traffic first. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
So, do I need to configure anything on the router? No. He simply has to receive the packet and send it further, right? All the action has been taken by FortiGate. FortiGate is controlling what will be sent and what will be dropped. Okay, FortiGate will take control. You are taking control here itself. You are not letting the ISP decide what will be dropping. Okay, like here, ISP was deciding that it may drop anything into that 1 Mbps. But here the FortiGate is taking control. FortiGate is saying, no, I will drop, I may drop something from YouTube, something from Gmail, something from web, other traffics, but I will never drop Zoom. So Zoom will always be a green signal. Okay, no matter how much data he wants to use, send it. Okay, so the traffic that has to be dropped, let's say there is an 11 Mbps incoming traffic, the FortiGate will itself forward at 10 Mbps. Why? Because you have given him that control. And okay, you yourself take the call, what will be dropped. Clear? So that's why traffic shaping is a feature that you will be using in order to configure on the FortiGate firewall. This is a FortiGate firewall feature, okay? And this never influence the behavior of the other device. Okay, why? Because it never modifies anything into the header. Like DSCP modifies toss into the IP header, right? That's why it is able to influence the behavior of the next hop device. Whereas traffic shaper do nothing as such like that. Okay, it never modifies any content of the packet, nothing at all. It simply sees, okay, I'm getting these lots of traffic. There is a potential case that it may end up dropping somewhere. I will myself take a control and I will decide who will be dropped and who will not. Clear with the difference of the DSCP and traffic shaper? Now you are clear what to implement where? And yes or no?
Yep.
Okay, fine. So see, now I will go with reference to the traffic shaping. Let me see how to add a new page. Notes? No, not notes. Hey, how to add a new page? Interesting.
Rohan sir,
Yes, please.
click on the home button
Oh, okay.
and now press white.
New idea. Hey, it's so if I want to go the previous one, how will I go there?
Home button again. Yeah.
Okay, that is how it is.
That's nice. Yeah.
Okay,
Rohan sir, I have one query.
okay, yeah, tell me.
Suppose we configure DSCP and we have also quality of service because I'm in ISP. So generally we have a request like somebody is having a 100 meg circuit. So what we define like 95% of traffic will use for data and 5% will be used for VoIP. So my query is there any specific value we need to set for certain application?
You have to.
Okay.
And,
Because
and like before you proceed further, you said that okay, first of all, I may have to implement the QoS or like DSCP, right?
yes.
Do not think that DSCP and QoS are two different things.
Okay.
We are talking about QoS. In QoS, to implement the QoS, there are two ways. You can implement using DSCP or using the traffic shape.
Okay.
That is what it is. Oh, yeah, tell me.
Okay. So suppose somebody is sending a traffic which is of Zoom and YouTube as well at the same time, or somebody is like this time the classes is going on. So it include voice and video as well. So how?
I will tell you how you will achieve that. Okay.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay. So, see, with reference to the traffic shaping, okay? With reference to the traffic shaping, the traffic shaping here in the FortiGate firewall, we have two types of traffic shapers. Okay. What are those traffic shapers? One is shared shaper, and the other one is per IP shaper. Okay. Now, what is shared shaper? See, shared shaper says that look, whatever the bandwidth that I will give you will be shared by everyone. Okay. Now let me give an example. Okay, how does the traffic shaping works actually? If you know that, this will be also clear. Now let's say for an example, you have the firewall. Okay. And incoming, outgoing towards an ISP which is having a 10 Mbps link. Okay, this is a 10 Mbps link. Now, assume you are, I'm just taking the same example that you are getting the 10 Mbps of traffic. Okay. Incoming traffic is 10 Mbps. Out of these 10 Mbps, 2 Mbps belongs to YouTube. 3 Mbps belongs to your Zoom. Okay, let's say 3 Mbps belongs to your what we can say, some emails and all, maybe your Outlooks and whatever the thing that the Teams application. Yeah, okay. Let's say remaining 2 Mbps is being used by your Teams application. Okay. And let's say the other 1 Mbps is with reference to your other internet stops. Okay, that is what it is. So all together, they are giving me, so it's 10, 11, right? 11. Okay. So, okay, let me remove this internet. Let it keep it on only 4. Now, so up to this point, if I have such a traffic combination that may be coming from multiple PCs, you may have multiple users. They all may be sending the traffic all together. But overall, the traffic that they are sending will constitute the total YouTube traffic is 2 Mbps. The total Zoom traffic is 3 Mbps. The total email traffic is 3 Mbps. The total Teams traffic is 2 Mbps. Okay. Now, if this is the traffic pattern, it can be sent further to the FortiGate firewall and it will be sent to the ISP without any issue. But if any of this value is increased, now, like I mentioned, it's 11 Mbps. Then let's break it. Again here, the YouTube increased its data. Someone started seeing the YouTube at the higher video rates and all. So it increased, okay. Now, Zoom is still using 3 Mbps, okay. Email is also using 3 Mbps or let's say 2 Mbps. Email is using, and 2 Mbps has been used by the Teams. Now this is all together now counting to 11 Mbps of data. Now here, now the FortiGate, you want that? No. Now here 1 Mbps will be dropped. Now what will that be dropped? That is not my concern. What you have to drop, that is not my concern. But what you do not have to drop, that is my concern. Okay. So I will tell the firewall that, hey, do not drop Zoom. You drop anything that you want or everything that you want except Zoom. So do not focus on what not to drop. Sorry, what to drop, okay? You have to focus on what not to drop. Now here, how you will do that? Now you will define a bandwidth limit. Now again, this is a discretion upon the network engineer, he who has to take the call. What will be the minimum or maximum bandwidth that you want to allocate for a specific application? Okay, so you may say that, hey, look, I want that Zoom application should receive guaranteed bandwidth of 3 Mbps. Maximum bandwidth that the Zoom can get is 4 Mbps. If you have defined this, so you are saying to the firewall that, look, overall, the Zoom traffic, okay, overall, when there is a collective data coming, and out of those data, if Zoom data is 3 Mbps, or as high as 4 Mbps, fine, give him that. Zoom should be able to get up to 4 Mbps if Zoom wants that. Okay. But if Zoom, let's say Zoom application is wanting more than that, there are certain days where Zoom application usage increase up to 5 Mbps, then what? Then if you have this setup, it will drop 1 Mbps of Zoom because it cannot do anything into that, right? So you have to modify your configuration saying that, hey, maximum he can go up to 5 Mbps. So it is you who are telling that what amount of bandwidth that an application can use. Okay? Clear? Now, once you define this, what happens? Now, let's say we will keep it simple. Granted bandwidth is 3 Mbps and maximum bandwidth is 4 Mbps. Now, what is the difference between granted bandwidth and maximum bandwidth? I will tell you that. Now, let's take an example here. Now, if there was an 11 Mbps of incoming traffic, and if you have configured the traffic shaping for Zoom saying that, hey, this is what the Zoom application will be getting. Okay. Now, what will happen here is the firewall will trigger the traffic shaper and then it will see, okay, fine, how much the Zoom is sending the traffic, 3 Mbps. 3 Mbps granted or maximum is falling in the same, right? 3 Mbps is within the limits. Okay, fine, allow the Zoom burst. So he will never drop this 3 Mbps of Zoom, never. Okay, he may drop 1 Mbps from YouTube. Okay, he will not drop the emails or Teams whatsoever, or he may drop some of the YouTube, some of the emails or some of the Teams, but he will never drop Zoom. Now assume the Zoom traffic increased to 4 Mbps. Still, this is falling under the maximum bandwidth allocation field, right? 4 Mbps, oh yes, up to that I will give him. So 4 Mbps of Zoom traffic, entire Zoom application traffic will not be dropped. It will be sent out. And if this increases beyond 4, now it is not the control. So it is saying, okay, the Zoom application is wanting 5 Mbps. As per my configuration, maximum bandwidth that I can reserve for this application is 4 Mbps. So one thing is sure, I will be sending 4 Mbps of your data, but remaining one will be dropped. I have my hands tied. Okay. So that's why I'm saying it's up to the network engineer how he will be handling or managing the traffic shaping. You have to take a call depending upon your data history. Okay. It's like hit and trial and hit kind of a thing. You will decide. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule that, okay, should I give 2, should I give 4, should I give 6? That depends upon your amount of traffic that you are expecting a certain application to handle. Okay, so that is what you're going to define in there. Okay, so it's upon you. You can take a call. Okay, if it is not, if you see that, okay, 4 Mbps is not enough, fine. Increase the value and then see whether they are still seeing a drop or not. Okay, so up to what value you are okay, define that and you are good. Now, assume I have also given a certain preference to Teams. Okay, because there are some meetings that are also going on my Teams application. So just for Zoom, I do not want that my other important meetings are also having the issues. Okay, so here also you gave that, okay, Teams will get granted bandwidth, okay, of, let's say 3 Mbps here also I'm giving, okay, and maximum bandwidth that he can get is around, yeah, let it be also 4 Mbps. Okay, you are giving this. Now, for an example, there is a very high amount of traffic now. Okay, Now, YouTube is also sending 3. Zoom is also sending some around 4 Mbps. So 4, 3, right? So it's how much it is? 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's still 11, right? So it's fine. 1 Mbps will be dropped. YouTube is fine. YouTube will be dropping 2 Mbps. Maybe your emails will be getting also dropped. But your Teams application, okay, your Teams is having 2 Mbps of traffic that has also been handled well. Okay, but if your Teams is increasing to 3, now your total incoming traffic is 211 Mbps. Now that means 2 Mbps of traffic has to be dropped. Now it will ensure that 4 Mbps of Zoom is allowed. It will also ensure that 3 Mbps of Teams is also been sent, no matter what the situation is. It will send it. Okay. It may end up dropping YouTube or email traffic, but it will never drop Zoom or Teams because you have configured the traffic shaping for that. You are telling that, hey, they can use up to 4 Mbps each. Zoom can use 4 Mbps of data. Teams can also use 4 Mbps of bandwidth. So it's fine. So the firewall will give you that preference. But what if, let's say, you have said that, okay, Teams will be getting, let's say, Teams traffic, okay? Teams traffic is been sending 5 Mbps of data. It's a team thing, okay? So here you are like getting that Teams meeting is going on and all those kinds of stuff. Someone started sharing their screen and all. So of course that will increase the bandwidth, okay? So your Teams is sending 5 Mbps of that. Now your Zoom is also, let's hope it is sending 5 Mbps. The total traffic that the Zoom wants to use is 5 Mbps. Teams also is willing to use 5 Mbps. In that case, what your firewall will do? Now here, the firewall will try to give you the allocation maximum as it can. That means Zoom can handle up or can get up to 4 Mbps. He will give him 4 Mbps. Teams can also get up to maximum up to 4 Mbps. He will give him 4 Mbps. Rest all traffic will be given with reference to 2 Mbps. YouTube and emails, they will be sent with reference to only 2 Mbps of remaining bandwidth. So all the traffic that will be dropped with reference to YouTube and email, the same thing. Okay. Now let us increase this value. 6. And here, instead that you are having 3, okay, let it be have 3. Here you are having 6 Mbps. And let's say the maximum bandwidth I will increase here as well because my Zoom also needs that 5 Mbps of data. So granted bandwidth is 3 Mbps for Teams, maximum 6 he can use. Zoom, granted bandwidth 3, maximum up to 5 he can use. Now Zoom is sending me 5 Mbps of traffic. Teams is sending me 6 Mbps of traffic. Come on, man. 6 Mbps of traffic. Okay. Now 6 plus 5, how much? 11. Total bandwidth that you have is 10. FortiGate has to send it 5 Mbps of Zoom because yes, maximum bandwidth is 5 Mbps that the Zoom can use. So will they FortiGate say, okay, fine, 5 of the Zoom is allowed and 6 of the Teams is allowed? If it does that, again the ISP who is sitting here, he will drop off remaining 1 Mbps. Drop, right? Yes or no? Because you sent out 6 plus 5, 11 Mbps. And you have a bandwidth of 10 Mbps only. So it will end up dropping it. This is where the granted bandwidth come into picture. Whenever such a situation happens, that you may, because you have several other traffic shapers applied to it. So it's not that only Zoom will get a preference, Teams may also get a preference. You may have some other traffic shaping for, let's say, Outlook or some other applications or for some specific destinations. You may be having that. So there the granted bandwidths come into picture. When the fight is between the two traffic shapers, they will say, hey, okay, fine. We have a limited bandwidth, right? So we cannot control, we cannot increase the bandwidth at our side. We have to take a call. So that is when they will say, okay, fine. Granted means no matter what the situation happens, 3 Mbps, Zoom will get it for sure. Teams will get 3 Mbps. That is for sure. It's reserved for them. Okay, so do not worry onto it. So if that the situation happens now, if you are sending a 5 Mbps of Zoom, it will only send 3. And here also it will try to send 3. Okay, it will give you granted. It will not give you the maximum because it cannot. Now the question comes, okay, fine. So granted bandwidth is simply saying that, okay, this is the granted reserved bandwidth that you will be getting whenever you want. Okay, no one is going to take that share from you. Okay, but what if such a situation happens? Let's say I have 2 Mbps of Teams, okay, 4 Mbps of Zoom, 3 Mbps of YouTube, and let's say 2 Mbps of Outlook. Now here, for an example, total constitutes of 11 Mbps, if I'm not wrong. So does this mean that it will, or okay, let me give it as, there is no Outlook. Okay, there is no Outlook. Fine, so keep it as 9 Mbps of total traffic, right? So does that mean that it will still be policing this Zoom because it has a 3 Mbps bandwidth, or it will not give the others one preference because your Zoom is still there, 4 Mbps, and let's say the YouTube increased to 6, or sorry, not to 6, 4 Mbps. Your YouTube is increasing up to 4 Mbps. Now, since you have reserved 3 Mbps for that, or maximum bandwidth for 5 or 6, so if I'm saying reserve, so that means out of 10 Mbps, 3 is taken, granted bandwidth is taken for home, Zoom. Zoom has took that, remaining is 7. Out of 7, 3 Mbps is again taken by whom? Your Teams application, right? Remaining is how much? 4. Total 4 Mbps of traffic that is left, bandwidth that is left, correct? Now, if at this point, let's say the Zoom traffic is reduced to 2, but somehow the YouTube traffic is increasing. So YouTube is going up to 6 Mbps. So since you have reserved 3 Mbps granted bandwidth for Zoom, 3 Mbps and 3 Mbps for Teams, your remaining bandwidth total is 4 Mbps left, right? And now YouTube wants to go to using this 4 Mbps. That means you will still end up dropping 2 Mbps of traffic. Getting my point? See here. See, if 2 Mbps is used by your teams, 2 Mbps is used by your Zoom and 6 Mbps is for your YouTube. For example, total traffic that constitutes is how much? 10 Mbps. Now, if the firewall is receiving that traffic of 10 Mbps, the firewall is receiving that traffic, and firewall is connected to the ISP who is having a 10 Mbps of bandwidth. Now, since you have reserved 3 Mbps for Zoom and 3 Mbps for Teams, so the total bandwidth that is left is 4 Mbps. So that means YouTube will be dropping 2 Mbps, like firewall will drop 2 Mbps of YouTube because it only has the 4 Mbps of bandwidth left. Rest all is reserved for Zoom and Teams. Yes or no? It's a simple math. Okay. Are you guys getting this concept, or there's a pin of silence because I'm not sure what I'm talking about? I believe I'm audible. People.
Yes, yes, sir.
It's a weekend time, I know that. Okay, fine. See here. Okay, I will again okay, fine. I will stop. Okay. See, so here, if the firewall behaves in a certain manner that granted bandwidth means I will reserve the 3 Mbps bandwidth for the Zoom and 3 Mbps for the Teams. Okay, if it is going to do in such a way, here it will get a trigger. Okay, that is not how it should work, because that is not how I want it to work. Okay, it is not like that. I should not be looking for such a configuration or such a behavior. Why? Because if you are reserving 3 Mbps for Zoom and 3 Mbps for Teams, actually the Team and Zoom is not using 3 Mbps of data. At that point of time, Teams and Zoom is using 2 Mbps of data, right? So still 2 more Mbps of data could have been sent. But why are you giving me only 4 Mbps? Okay, so this is not how the traffic shaping works. Traffic shaping always ensures that if in case there is any available space or bandwidth that a certain amount of data can be sent, it will send it. Okay, traffic shaping do not say that I will have this amount of bandwidth reserved for Zoom always. No. Traffic shaping says that if in case the congestion situation occurs, then the Zoom will be getting 3 Mbps of traffic. But if Zoom is only sending the 2 Mbps of traffic, that means the remaining 1 Mbps of traffic will not be left unused. That will be used to handle other traffics. Okay? Clear? See, why I am mentioning this statement is because I've seen a lot of customers and their engineers coming with the thought, and they configure the traffic shaping with the thought process that if I have defined a granted bandwidth or maximum bandwidth, okay, or both, that means a certain amount of bandwidth is reserved. And your application will, no matter whether that application is trying to use that amount of bandwidth or not, that is reserved. That's not the case. Okay. If in case there is a situation of congestion, at that point of time, traffic shaper will come into action and it will say, hey, this traffic will be getting a certain amount of bandwidth, that's for sure. Okay, so you go first. You use the first 3 bandwidth. Then this will use the next 3 bandwidth, and then whatever left will be used for all other traffics. That is what the traffic shaping says. But if any of that application do not want to use such an extent of traffic at that point of time, traffic shaping will say, okay, fine, you are happy with that small amount of bandwidth, you go with that. The remaining bandwidth, I will use it to manage the other traffic. Okay, so that is how does it work. Clear? Now, like I mentioned, the traffic shapings or the shapers that you will configure are of two types. One is shared shaper and one is per IP shaper. Shared shaper means collective. So here you may have PC1, PC2, PC3. So if you are saying that, hey, I am configuring a shared shaper for Zoom, that means maybe all these three PCs are using Zoom and they all are sending the Zoom data. Okay. So if all together the entire Zoom application data is using 3 Mbps, that is what you are telling it, that they can get up to 3 Mbps together. But if you do with per IP, if you say that no, I am defining per IP for the teams, that means you are saying that each source or each PC, whosoever is using the Teams application, each one will be getting 3 Mbps of bandwidth for their respective team application per IP and shared. Clear? Clear? The mechanism is same. Only thing, how much bandwidth that you are allocating, either to a specific application for overall user or for a specific application for each user. Clear? Clear? So you will not be using per IP shaper anywhere except it is for some special high boards, directors, CEOs. So if they are the dignitaries that they might be coming to your campus or like to your office, you might be asked that, hey, they should not be seeing any internet slowness or any kind of such a thing because their business meetings are really important. So at that point of time, you may end up configuring the per IP shaper. Else, you will never use that. Clear? Clear?
Yes.
Okay, now let's wrap up all the talks and let's come into the action in the labs. That will give much more fair sense what I was talking about. Uh, 72.16.10. Okay, so here, how you will configure the traffic shaping. Do you see this traffic shaping here? Just click onto it, onto the GUI. Come on, man. Yeah, okay. So see here, you see traffic shapers, traffic shaping policy, and traffic shaping profiles. Now, if you want to configure the traffic shaping, there are two things that you have to do. First of all, you have to define the shaper, and then you have to call the shaper into the policy. Okay, that is the traffic shaping policy. Okay, so first of all, we have to define, these are the predefined shapers. Okay, we will create our own. We will say, I'm creating in the shared shaper, okay? So see here, type shared or per IP shaper, whatever you want to choose, okay? You can choose it. Now I'm going with the shared shaper. There I will say that, okay, this is my shaper, okay? I'm just calling it a name, my shaper. Now I'm saying traffic priority is low, medium or high, whatever you want to choose it from here. I'll say high, okay. Bandwidth unit, how do you want to define? With kbps, with mbps or gbps, okay. So let's be with the kbps because in the lab we do not have much bandwidth, okay. So maximum bandwidth here, let's assume that we will give maximum bandwidth as 1024 kbps. That is what I'm going to give. Okay. Granted bandwidth, I will give as 500 kbps. Okay. Fine. Now you may come that, hey, do I have to configure both? No. So you can configure only granted bandwidth. That is also fine. You may only want to configure maximum bandwidth. That is also fine. You may want to configure both. That is also fine. Okay. So maximum bandwidth says what is the maximum that it will give to a specific traffic. And granted means no matter what happens, I will give you that amount of data. That is granted. So based upon your discretion, you can just decide, okay, that, okay, what are the values that you want? Okay. So I'm giving both. Okay. Now see here, I told you about DSCP, right? See how it is, how easy it is. Just a click. DSCP enabled, mention the value 10110 and you are done. Done. Nothing to worry. DSCP is done. Okay, no special configuration. DSCP is done. Okay. Now, so I'm not going to play with the DSCP here. Let's focus on the traffic shaping. So here I have defined a shaper where I'm saying that the maximum bandwidth that it can give is 1024 and it's like granted it will give as 500 kbps. So I'm pressing OK so that I can save it. I have saved my shapers here. Now I have to tell that where this shaper will be applicable for which traffic, right? I have to define the traffic. Now that's what we do in the policy, right? We say incoming that, outgoing that, and source all and destination whatever it is, right? That is what you are going to do. Similarly, that kind of thing, we will create a traffic shaping policy. Now here I'm calling it my shaper policy. Okay, I'm just calling it that. Now here, see it is saying, see these statements. If traffic matches to what? Source as, I will say all sources. Okay. Destination what? What is the destination that you want to give? You want to give any specific destination IP or you want to give any FQDN, whatever you want to give, you can just add that destination. Maybe like I told you that I want to polish my Zoom, right? So I will click on application and I will look for Zoom. Here I have Zoom, click that and it's done. Okay. Give the destination as an all and this is Zoom. So it's done. Now here it will only polish the Zoom traffic. Okay, this policy is only for Zoom. Even though if I do not give destination will take, no. Why? Because you have told that, okay, hey, this is the application, okay. So the FortiGuard will decide which traffic is a Zoom traffic. You do not have to worry because Zoom destination is something which we do not know. It may have thousands of hundreds of IPs for the Zoom, right? Anyone can be talking with reference to any of the Zoom servers. So I cannot manage that specific IPs. So for that, I will choose the destination as all. Okay. But on the application, I will say it should be Zoom. Okay. So it's up to the firewall. Firewall will automatically decide which traffic is Zoom and which traffic is not a Zoom. Okay. Similarly, if you want to do for Teams as well, you can also find it here. Okay. So it will show you that all the applications that it holds, it will be showing you that. Okay. Now, for an example, Microsoft. See here, there are a lot of Microsoft applications. Whatever you want to choose, okay, you choose it from here. Clear? Clear. Whichever. Yeah. process. Okay, so you have a lot of applications listed in here. Okay, this is not a licensed device, so it cannot talk to the FortiGuard yet. But here you may not see few of the applications, but believe me, when you work on a licensed firewall, you will see all the applications that you want. Okay. Not only that, you may also define a traffic shipper for some specific URL categories, that is your websites. Okay, so you can also decide up to that. That hey, let's say I want the traffic to be shaped for any website which falls under the category of online meeting. Okay, so I can do that. Okay, so I can also apply that setting here. Okay, so it's up to you. So the firewall will give you much more flexibility that which traffic or the application-based traffic which you want, simply choose that application and you are done. So you have defined the traffic. That source can be anything, destination can be anything, but it should be a Zoom. Okay, so if the traffic is a Zoom traffic, then apply the shaper. Then apply the shaper. What is the outgoing interface? Where you have to apply the shaper? The shaper has to be applied on the outgoing interface. That is port 2. Remember life of packet?
Yep.
Integrity check, captive portal, DNAT, routing lookup and RPF, policy lookup, NGFW UTM action, source NAT, and then traffic shaping, and then the packet is sent out, right? So traffic shaping is performed at the outgoing interface. Okay, so outgoing interface, port 2. So I'm saying traffic shaping has to be done on the port 2 map. Okay, now you want to apply the shared shaper? Yes. So enable the shared shaper, and here we will have our own, which was my shaper, right? Here, my shaper. I have applied that. Now this is for the when the traffic has been sent out. But what if I'm receiving it? The reply. Do you want to polish that as well? If you are willing to do that, apply a reverse shaper. The reverse shaper is nothing but that the shaper will also be applicable for the reply traffic. Okay, if you want to do that, you can simply enable and apply the same or maybe some different, whatever you want. Okay, it's not necessary that you have to apply the same shapers. You can apply the different shaper for the reply and the different shaper for the outgoing. So it's up to you. And if you do not wish to do that, turn it off. That's also fine. Okay. So for example, we will take it as a call. Okay, we will say I'm going to apply a different one. Okay, granted 100 kbps, something to that, whatever it is. Okay, so that is what I'm going to apply here. Now it is giving you the option of per IP shaper. Do I want to apply the per IP shaper? No, I do not want to apply that. So here, what you did in short, you simply configured a policy where you have defined the traffic pattern, that on which traffic you want to apply the shaper and what shaper you want. Easy.
Yep.
Okay. Now you simply press OK and you are done. Oh, come on. Service, of course, ports are all. Okay, let it be all. Okay, done. So you have applied the traffic shaping policy for the Zoom. Okay, now here I'm not going to do that because my firewall will not be able to identify the Zoom traffic. Okay, so I will remove this. I will have destination as a null because I want to show you exactly what it is going to do. Okay, so I defined that for no matter what the traffic is, the shaper should be applied. Source all, destination all, outgoing interface port 2, apply the shared shaper. That is my shaper for when it is sending out, and when it will receive a reply, it should go with the guarantee 100 kbps. What's that the shaper that is defined to, and you are done. Your traffic shaping is configured. No worries for that. Okay. Now, before I show you the end result, there was one more thing with reference to that. Okay, hey, if I have to configure the traffic shaper for per IP shaper, then what? It's the same thing. Okay, when you define for per IP shaper, you also decide, okay, fine, what will be the maximum bandwidth. Now here, if you see, there is other options like maximum concurrent connections, that how many connections that a specific source can form. Okay, how many TCP connections at the same time he can form, how many UDP connections at the same time he can form. Okay, and of course DSCP, forward DSCP and reverse DSCP. Forward DSCP means when I will send the packet out and how I will modify the toss field for the reply traffic. Okay, so that is what it is. So all these options are there for the per IP shipper. If you want to do that, maybe for some specific servers and all, you may be willing to do that. Define the per IP shipper, but the concept remains same. Once you have defined the per IP shipper, go into the traffic shaping policy, create the policy where you define what type of traffic, and then you simply enable the per IP shipper there, and you simply add that a specific per IP shipper what you have created. Okay, so no issues with that. Implementation and configuration is the same thing. Clear? Clear? Now,
Yep.
the question is, I have defined the traffic shaping policy. Now, how would I know whether this is really working or not? What is the way to check it? There are two ways that will confirm whether the traffic shaping is working or not. What are those two ways? First, with reference to GUI, go into the dashboard, click on this FortiView plus sign, okay, search for traffic shipper. FortiView traffic shaping, add this into your widget. Done. Go in dashboard, here you will now see FortiView traffic shaping. So if your traffic shaping is working, you will see that traffic shaping listed here. See, you are seeing my shapers listed, so that means it is working. And see, it has not dropped any bytes. Like I told you, if in case a certain threshold will increase, it cannot do anything, right? So it will drop it. Currently, we are not sending any sort of such traffic, so not a problem. Now, you can see here how many bytes it has handled, sent bytes and received bytes, how many sessions. So your shaper has actually taken action on 13 sessions right now. And if you see here, the bandwidth that it is giving is 18.33, okay, for sending, okay. Now, if you double click onto it, you can also see who is that source, who is been matching with that traffic shaping, okay. And if you want to see much more information into that what are the sessions or that traffic that the traffic shaping is handling or like processing, you will see here, see all these sessions, okay, that has been managed by your traffic shipper. So you can clearly see which all traffic is being hitting your traffic shaping configuration. Clear? And it's a very fair view. You can exactly know what type of traffic is being matching or not. Clear? This is with reference to GUI, which you should always follow. Okay, it's an easy and a quick method to check. Second, using the CLI. Can anyone tell me where I can confirm in the CLI whether traffic has been processed by the traffic shaping or not? I've told you. In CLI, anyone? Random thoughts?
Can't recall it. Sorry.
Not an issue. See here, sessions. I told you that here you will see those shapers if in case the session has been processed by the shipper. Now see here, it is saying, are you seeing any information here?
No.
No. That means this session for UDP, okay, our DNS traffic for UDP has not been processed by the traffic shaping. Okay, it's not. See here, there are total 28 sessions. Okay. Now, if you scroll it up, here you see this is a UDP traffic. Okay, see here, origin, that is original shaper is my shaper, and for reply, granted 100 kbps. Remember, we configured these two. Remember?
Yeah.
Share shipper, my shipper, when I will send the traffic out, and reverse shipper for reply, granted 1000 kbps, right? That is what
Yes.
original direction, my
My
shipper,
shipper.
reply direction, granted 1000 kbps, correct? Priority 2 means high, granted bandwidth this much, maximum this much traffic has been handled and how much has been dropped, 0. Similarly, priority 2 high, granted this much, maximum this much traffic that has been handled by this reverse shipper is this some amount of traffic, has been no drop. Clear? So if your traffic shipping is dropping, you will see the value here. Clear?
Yep.
So it's very easy to just have a look and like decide where the packet is getting dropped, right? So if in case you see that the drop counter is increasing here, which may be causing issue to that a specific destination communication, what is the solution? The solution is go and increase the traffic shipping value, right? Increase your maximum bandwidth, increase your granted bandwidth. Correct? Correct?
Yep.
And the issue is solved. Okay, so have a look onto it. This is how the traffic shaping functions. I showed you this is how the stations has been processed. Now, please note here, not all the stations is getting processed. This is also a UDP station. This is also a UDP station. This is also for 88853 port, that is DNS traffic. This is also for DNS traffic here. Where it is? No, this is for web traffic, man. Okay, this is for some 80 port. But see, this has not been processed. Why? And this is processed. Why? How the firewall is deciding which traffic to process and which traffic not to? It is deciding based upon, like I mentioned, traffic shaper. When you enable the traffic shaper or when you configure the traffic shaper, it does not mean that it will start shaping all the traffic. No. It simply means that whenever a congestion situation may arise where there is a possibility of dropping something, that is when it will trigger itself. That is when the firewall will trigger the traffic shipping. They will say, hey, now let me take control. Okay, because the inflow is high. So that is when it will decide, okay, this traffic will be processed by the traffic shipper. Okay, shipped. Okay, clear? Clear?
Yep.
Okay, fine. So this is all about the traffic shipping. Okay, try to implement the same thing. Try to implement with reference to a specific destination. I have done it for all. You try to do it for youtube.com or for some destination like 8.8.8.8. Okay, try to open multiple websites. Try to play YouTube is streaming and see how it is processing the traffic. Okay, what is the log that you see there in the FortiView traffic shaping as well as for the stations in entry. Just have a look onto it. It is just a 5-minute lab, nothing more. Okay, so whenever you have the time, try to implement that. Okay, now VDOM. Okay, the next topic is VDOM. Before I want to start with a very important thing that is actually certificates. I want to tell you something about the VDOM. VDOM is a very small thing, but it is something that you should know. Now, to be precise, okay, leave it. I will not whiteboard instead. Okay, so see, VDOM. This is a licensed feature. Hence, I cannot show you in the lab. Okay, this is a licensed feature, but you should know, you should not be scared with the VDOM. Okay, there's nothing to be scared with the VDOM, and VDOM is one of such a concept or word which holds a very bad reputation. Okay, people do shy away to work on a VDOM cases if in case any customer is using a VDOM kind of a setup. We as an engineer feel that it is little difficult to work and like troubleshoot or like configure onto such a device where you have a VDOM. Okay. I have worked on multiple devices who are with the multiple VDOMs, and believe me, it's not different. It's the same. What we have learned so far, it's the same. VDOM changes nothing. So what is VDOM? Same. Before that, we go into a VDOM. Let me ask you a simple question. Let's say a FortiGate device. This is the first FortiGate model, and you have the other FortiGate model. Okay. FortiGate 2. They are connected. FortiGate 2 is connected to the ISP. And let's assume your PC here is connected to the FortiGate 1. This is port 1. This is port 2. On the FortiGate 2 firewall, this is also port 1. This is also port 2. I'm just taking that. Okay. Clear with the setup?
Yes.
Okay. Now, tell me one thing. You are working on firewall 1. Okay. You have to ensure that this PC is able to reach to the internet. So what is the route that you will configure on the FortiGate 1?
So we'll give them access from the PC1 to PC1, the interface port 1 to port 2.
So what is the route that you have to configure on the FortiGate 1?
So route would be source the PC information.
Source?
Oh, no, sorry.
Routing?
The route, right?
Default route?
Oh, yeah.
Default route via port 2?
Sorry. Yep.
That is what you will configure on FortiGate 1?
Yes.
And with reference to policy, what you will configure with reference to the policy? Policy will be, hey, port 1 to port 2.
Port 2, yeah.
Now, right?
Yep. I mean, port and applications.
Correct?
Mhm.
Okay. For example, I have to configure on FortiGate 2. Now, what is the route that I will configure on FortiGate 2 to make sure that the traffic which is sent by the FortiGate 1, so the traffic will be sent from here, FortiGate 2 will receive it, FortiGate 2 has to send it further, right? So what will be the route that you will configure on the FortiGate 2? Same default route?
Mhm.
So we'll say via port 2. And what will be the policy that you will configure here? Same port 1 to port 2, right? Which will say action is allowed.
Yeah.
The point what I'm trying to make here is you are managing two firewalls, but they didn't make any difference with reference to configuration.
No.
The approach is same, right? I need the direction of the first packet, correct?
Yeah.
So what I did on FortiGate 1, I will do the same thing on FortiGate 2 or on like FortiGate n number of times. You may have 300 firewalls, that doesn't make a difference, right? How many boxes you may have, I will do the same sort of a configuration with the same approach, right or not?
Right.
Okay, now, so this doesn't change anything, okay? What we know, we know. Now, for an example, the company, okay, it's not possible always that your company will be willing to buy the new device or new hardware, okay? They might not be willing to do that. They will say that, hey, just one thing. I want to manage my device in a much more efficient way, okay? So the catch is that let's say you have a very vast network, okay? You have a very vast network. So your single firewall, on your single firewall, you have configured many VPNs, okay? So what you are doing here is, let's say you have a FortiGate firewall here, okay? And on this device, on this FortiGate device, you have around 1000 VPN that you have configured, that is site to site. You have almost 20,000 routes that is installed onto this. You may have almost 1,000 policies that you have configured. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a very vast setup, okay, that vast configuration onto your firewall. Now, of course, that is increasing a load, okay, onto your firewall, right? That is increasing a load, everything. Now just think with reference to the troubleshooting point of view. Now, if I have to add a new VPN, or if I have to troubleshoot something related to the policy or a VPN, I have to go through all these. It's like I have to browse through the policies. I have to go through those VPNs, right? And if something I did wrong, that may impact all the traffic, right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
So in that case, you may want to manage your firewall in a much more efficient way. Okay, when you have a very high configuration. See, I'm talking about a very high, okay? It's not a small thing, 500 or 600 policies and all. I'm not talking about that. Even higher than that, okay? Thousands. So when your configuration is too big to handle or to manage, and there is a potential human error risk, you cannot rule that out, okay? No matter how good you are, there is always a human error, okay? So that may lead to a certain issues. You might have done some change on a routing, but that has impacted the VPN traffic or some other related traffics, right? That can happen. So you want to minimize that. You want to manage your firewall in much more better way. So what is the easiest thing? The easiest thing is, hey, what I can do is I will configure the VPNs here, and I will configure the policies for the intra, that is for LAN to LAN communication or for any other subnets to be here. Okay. I will also ensure that the SSL, IPsec and everything has been done in here. The proxies has been done in here, right? And rest all policies, NATing and everything has been taken care here, right? So I can distribute so that if in case I have some changes to be done on this side, it will never impact here. And if I do some change here, it will never impact the FortiGate one, right? Correct? You can distribute if you have two of the devices. The workload you can distribute. Okay, so if you have made some changes on the FortiGate 1, that will never impact the FortiGate 2. There is no issue with the FortiGate 2, right? If in case something goes wrong, you have to only work on FortiGate 1. Correct? Right or no? Okay, I will take that as yes. Okay, fine. So here, like I mentioned, your company may not be willing to buy a new device always, okay, because it is of course going to increase the cost. Now,
Yep.
whenever such a situation happens where you want to manage your firewall in much more efficient way, but you do not have an additional hardware, there the concept of, like I always told you about, whenever the network is stuck with a question and it do not have any solution to it, especially with reference to hardware, okay, but it cannot increase the hardwares and all, then they come up with the concept of virtual, right?
Virtual, yeah.
They do not have some extra physical ports, create a virtual port. Okay, they do not have some anything related to the separate firewalls and all, create a virtual firewall. So VDOM is nothing but a virtual firewall. V stands for virtual, DOM stands for domain. So the full form of VDOM is virtual domain.
Domain name.
Okay, you can call this as virtual firewall as well. If it makes a sense of an idea, you can call it as virtual. Just give me a moment, please. Okay, so this is virtual firewall. Okay, so now see what does a virtual firewall does. Now see by default, okay, by default your entire firewall is part of root VDOM. Okay, they are part of a domain, the entire firewall, and that is root VDOM. It's a default. No one can remove it, no one can delete it, no one can modify it. It's by default. Every firewall is part of a root VDOM. So it's like a single domain. Okay. Now, if you talk about the VDOM, what does the VDOM do? VDOM says that, hey, I will create a partition, a virtual partition, okay, into your firewall so that you have now two domains. One is root and one thing, you can name it anything. Okay, so I will call it as my VDOM. Okay, so my VDOM. I will call it as my VDOM. My VDOM. Okay, this is my domain. So that means I have firewall 1 and firewall 2. Clear? It is simply creating a partition into it. Now to understand this, let me give you a layman example. Okay, see here. I believe you might have seen this. We have hard disk.
Yep.
So does this system has two hard disks into it?
No, one hard disk.
There's only one physical hard disk, right?
Yeah.
But why it is showing me disk C and disk D? Because I get partition. And it does not mean that I literally pick up and saw and like I divided it in two parts. No, I have not broken that hard disk, man. It's a virtual. Virtually we have divided that, okay, my drive C will have 100 GB, my other drive will have 300 GB and so on, right? Right?
Yep.
But it's the same physical hard disk. Now, for an example, let's say my PC crashes, my laptop crash. Okay, so I saw the blue screens and all. Okay, so I have to reload the Windows operating system into it. When I reload my operating Windows system, when my system comes up, will I lose the data what I have in drive D?
No.
No. Although I formatted, right? I removed everything on the drive C, correct? My drive C will be wiped off. But will it make anything difference on the drive D? No.
No.
Right? So what you did, why you created the partition? The main motive of the partition creation was that the impact is limited. If something goes wrong, it will only impact the drive C. It will not impact my other drives where I am storing my critical data, right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
That's while we were in the colleges and all, we had a tendency, while in school I had a tendency to store everything on a desktop. Okay, I used to copy from pen drive to the desktop. Okay, so my desktop looks very messy. But whenever something crashes, all data is gone, right? So we always said that, hey, do not store your data on the drive C, save it somewhere else, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So impact is limited, okay? Now, they will behave exactly as if I have two separate hard disks. Yes or no? That if something goes wrong on your hard disk one, I don't care. The drive will say, I don't have any issue with that, right? I'm fine. I'm a separate one. Correct? Same concept here. You have your firewall is a single firewall. It's a physical single device. No one can change that fact. But when you configure a VDOM, you actually create a partition saying that, hey, this section will be referred as FortiGate 1 and this is my FortiGate 2. You can think of it in like that way, okay? We will call it here as root VDOM and my VDOM. Okay? That is what it is. Now, it is simply creating a partition. So, does that mean that my way to configure the life of packet concept, how I should configure the firewall. Does it change? How I will troubleshoot a firewall? Will it change? No, not at all. Did it change here when you manage two of the firewalls? No, right? So why it will change here? That's why I said VDOM is such a topic that it holds a bad reputation in our thoughts, but it is actually not. If you can manage two separate physical firewalls, you can manage two VDOMs. There is no difference. It's just a virtual partition. You can think as if it's a two different firewall. So never think of VDOM as a VDOM. Think of VDOM as it's a separate firewall. So the only thing you have to do is do not disrespect the VDOM. When I say do not disrespect, that means you have to give the same respect to a VDOM that you give to a physical firewall. Because it is not lesser than that. It is exactly same. Now, if you have that thought in mind that I have to give the same respect here, that means on a single physical firewall, what you have? What makes a single physical firewall to operate? A single physical firewall has dedicated CPU, has dedicated memory, yes or no?
Yes.
They have dedicated physical interfaces.
Yes.
That is what we say that, okay, it's a physical firewall which has its own CPU, its own memory, and its own interface, right?
Yeah.
And of course, it will have its own configuration as well. Correct? That you might be doing the configuration. So if you have given such a thought or respect to this physical firewall, do not discriminate. VDOM will also be having the same thing. This part will also have its own CPU, its own memory, okay, its own interface, and its own configuration. This part will also have its own CPU, its own memory, its own interface, and its own configuration. Because what is a firewall without a CPU and memory, right? And what is a firewall which do not has a physical ports? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I'm saying do not disrespect. It's the same preference. How you treat a physical firewall, you have to treat the VDOM. So whenever you are willing to configure a VDOM, it will ask you that, hey, tell me what amount of CPU you want to give to the FortiGate 1 or not FortiGate 1, to the root VDOM. What amount of CPU? And what amount of CPU you want to give to the other VDOM, which is my VDOM. So what do you want to give in that? What amount of memory you want to allocate for the root VDOM? What amount of memory you want to allocate for the FortiGate 2? Okay, which interfaces will be part of root VDOM? So for an example, let's say there are 4 interfaces, okay? So this side is this is what I'm calling is as root, and this is what I'm calling is as my VDOM. Okay, so let's assume this is port 1, this is port 2, this is port 3, and this is port 4. Okay, now you will say that, hey, port 1 and port 2, port 1 and port 2 belongs to my VDOM. Clear? You are giving them, and port 3 and port 4 belongs to root VDOM. Clear? Clear?
Yeah.
So now root VDOM has its own CPU, its own memory, its own physical interface. Similarly, my VDOM is also having its own CPU, its own memory, and its own physical interface. So they are two different firewalls, right? Now the question comes that, hey, if I have two physical firewalls, so if I want to connect that, because I have to send the data from here to that side, right? So I will put a cable, right, connecting this port 2 of the FortiGate 1 to port 1 of the FortiGate 2, right? But here, how I will connect it? Do you want me to connect it like this?
Yes.
No.
No.
No. Why to waste a physical interface? I told you, see here, the same example I'm again coming to. Drive C and drive D. If I want to copy something from drive B to drive C, can't I do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Right? So have you, what are certain, it's like your hard disk is connected with only a single cable, right? Sorry, a single SATA or any of that cable, right?
Yeah.
You do not have drive C and drive B connected between these two. It's like, have you, I'm not sure if you have seen the hardwares of the PCs or not, desktops or the laptops, but have you seen that the disk is connected, there's a separate cable for drive C, drive B, drive E? No.
No.
Right? They are internally connected because after all, they are the same device, right? The same approach here. So here you will actually create, like I told you, in networkings, if you do not have any answer to that for the physical requirements, they will always come up with a virtual.
Virtual.
Okay? So here they will say, hey, they will create a VDOM link. Okay, they will create a VDOM link. That is virtual link, virtual domain link. They will say this is VDOM link 1, this is VDOM link 2. Okay, I'm calling it VD2 and VD1. Now, tell me. So let me okay, I can hide that. Okay, fine, that's a good thing. Okay, then so let me tell me one thing. Let's say I have, okay, like you configured here, right? So now I'm going to do a VDOM here. They will create a partition. Okay, there's a partition here. This is called as root VDOM. This is, we are calling it as my VDOM. Okay, and here I'm having two links. Okay, I'm calling it as VD1 and I'm calling it as VD2, that is virtual domain link 1 and virtual domain link 2. Okay, this is port 1, this is port 2, this is port 3, and this is port 4. And on port 4, the ISP link is connected, and on port 1, the PC is connected. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I have to ensure that my PC is able to reach to the internet. So
Right.
in the same fashion, if I have to configure on root VDOM, what is the route that I will configure? I will say that the default route, that if anyone wants to go out, it should go via VD1. You have to send the traffic to the other firewall. Na? You have to send it to the other firewall.
Yes.
Remember this example of the two physical firewalls? You created for port 2 that the traffic will be sent out using this. I told you again, do not disrespect. Do not think that the VDOM is lesser than the physical firewall. No, if you are going to disrespect him, he is going to give you the hard times. Okay, do not disrespect. Think it is a two different firewalls. And what you see here as a connectivity link, here you have between two VDOM links. Okay, now here you will say that the routing configuration will say that the default route will go via VD1. Okay, policy. If I have to configure a policy will say port 1 towards VD1 allow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now if I have to configure with reference to, let's say, my VDOM, that is, so here if I have to configure a route, what I will do? My route will look like this: 0.0.0.0 should go via port 4. Port 4.
Yep.
Yes.
And policy will say what? Policy will say that VD2 towards port 4. Because incoming port, just like you did here. Okay, do not disrespect. VDOM link. Okay, so VD2 to port 4. Now tell me, is there any difference between VDOM configuration, managing a VDOM firewall, or two different firewalls?
No, same.
Same. Okay, that's why. Okay, I myself was really scared when I was going into the VDOMs. I saw multiple VDOMs. I was thinking, hey, what I would do in that? Okay, where I would troubleshoot. But when I looked closely, I saw it's the same. No difference at all. It's like working on two different firewalls, right?
Mhm.
So do
Yes.
not get this is a taboo word, okay? People do get a bad feeling when we talk about VDOMs, but it's not, okay? Treat it with the same respect and it will be very easy for you to work on. Now the question comes. Like I mentioned, VDOM is a licensed feature. You cannot enable a VDOM onto any of the firewall which is not licensed. Okay. Now, saying that, the next question is, what is the maximum VDOM that I can create on a single firewall? That means how much partition
Yeah.
that I can create on a firewall. You can create up to 10 VDOMs onto the firewall. Okay. Once you have a license, that is the bundled license, FortiGuard license, you can create up to 10 VDOM into your single firewall. Now,
Wow.
on an example, I want more than that. Then what? So if you want that you should be having more than 10 partitions into your firewall or 10 VDOMs into your firewall, more than that, you have to buy the separate VDOM license if you want more than 10. Till now, I have seen a firewall where it was having 10. Okay, I've seen a device where it was having 10. They literally created 10 partitions, okay, into their firewall. So I have seen that, but I have not seen beyond it. But even if someone wants to have it, there is a separate license for it. Okay, people do use VDOMs. Why? Because see, what I will do is I will configure all my VPNs at this side of the firewall and all the other stuffs of the policies, netting and everything, I will do it here. Okay, so that if in case some issues with the VPN, I know that I don't have to worry for this part, right? I only have to check on my VDOM, correct? So for me, managing the device is easy, configuration is easy, okay? And I can quickly fix the solutions. If you want me to add or remove a certain part into the configuration, that is something also that I can do. And if God forbid, if I end up with some mistake, okay, that will never impact my other file. Okay, the internal communications will not be impacted. Whatever the root VDOM is handling, that will not be impacted. The impact is only limited with this firewall, right? So it also limits our impact. Clear? But yes, what if my firewall crashes? Then of course it's gone, right? Because after all, it is running on the same physical hardware, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what the VDOM is, man. Okay. How you will configure a VDOM? Just yeah, I think this will be enough. I will show you. They have given a proper pic representation as well. I'll show you that. Come on. Yeah, see here. Hey. Yeah, see here. Once you in the GUI, okay. Once you go in the system, okay, there you will see the VDOM option, okay, under the system. But here you will see that I do not get that. Okay, I will not be able to see that because it's not a licensed device, so you will not be seeing that feature here. See, system, and you will not see any VDOM. Okay, the VDOM is not there. Okay, even when I will go into the feature visibility, I don't think I will be able to see that VDOM. Okay, it will not be showing that. So it's not that it is hidden, but actually we do not have a licensed one, so that's why the VDOM option is not there. Okay, so this is VDOM. That here you can create a VDOM. Okay, and if you go in here further, see, just enable this, and you are done. A VDOM is created with the name VDOM A. If you want to do it with a CLI, you can simply run config VDOM and edit VDOM A, edit VDOM B. So you are creating two partitions. Okay, that one will be called as VDOM 1, VDOM A, and the other one will be called as VDOM B. But please note, root is still there. You cannot delete root. So when you create two, actually you have three VDOMs. That is root VDOM, VDOM A, and VDOM B. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, so never be scared if someone is talking with reference to VDOM. Okay, VDOM is something, whatever we are doing in the code, that is enough. VDOM simply say that I will create a separate partition so that you will have two virtual firewalls. That's it. Okay, no troubleshooting approach changes, no life of packet concept changes, no configuration concept changes, nothing changes at all. Clear?
Yeah. One question, you said we can create 10 VDOMs. So that 10 licenses include the root one?
No, 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 no. Root
Okay.
is by default, na? There is, by default you have root, right?
Yeah.
Then you can have 10 more VDOMs.
So including that root is a separate.
Excluding root.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's fine. Okay? So whenever you are confused with a VDOM working setup, okay, just tell your mind that, hey, I'm not working on the VDOM, I'm working on physical firewall, two different physical firewall, okay? Do not disrespect, that is what I am again repeating. Now, that is the VDOM part, man, okay? So let us take a quick break for 10 minutes, okay, and then I will be covering the certificate. Okay, certificate, just I want to cover the theory part. Okay, not much into it. UTM is something which I will start afterwards. That is maybe by the next day or on Monday. That depends upon you people. If you want to have a Sunday class, you have, or else you have not an issue. But I take a break for 5 minutes and we will be back. Okay, at 11:15. Okay.
Okay.
I will be away from my system. 10 minutes. Okay, so is everyone back?
Yep. Rohan, I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
So, for example, right, like we was discussing earlier when the beginning of the class, for example, if I want, right, can I create the VDOM just for using the VPN client,
Ah, yes.
and that VDOM only dedicated to the VPN client, right? So outside our work, people work from home, they can just directly connect to that VDOMs to the connected to our inside network, right?
Okay, so let me ask you this. If I give you a brand new firewall, so can you do that on that specific device?
Yeah, I can.
So of course you can do that on VDOM also.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Like
So
it's
when
not disrespect, okay? It's the same thing.
I got it. That's why my question came from your discussion. So if I create that, so what I have to do is there kind of iOS I need to install to the VM or?
No, nothing, man. Nothing iOS, nothing at all. Nothing is installed. Okay, it's simply a partition. It's like, okay, when we created in our Windows drive C and drive D, was any software installed into it? No.
No. Oh yeah. That's correct. Yeah.
So that's the
So
same. It will simply create a partition.
so when the brand new firewall, physical firewall came also the root as well as initially, right? Root.
Yeah, root is your brand new firewall. When you have a brand new firewall, your firewall is part of a root VDOM.
Root VM is that the original
By
firewall.
default, yeah, by default, entire firewall is part of root VDOM. Whether you configure a VDOM or not, by default, it is there. That is why when in the HA, I was showing you the checksum there, you saw root VDOM, right?
Yeah.
So that is why, okay, it is calculating the configuration checksum with reference to root because it knows that everything is in root VDOM. That's by default. You did not create it. That is by default. Okay.
Okay. Then I can rename to the VDOM to something else as well, right?
Correct. Sorry, you can rename?
Can I rename the VDOM to the something else, or it has to be type VDOM only?
No. You can rename any VDOM that you want to create to anything. You can like call it out onto your name. Okay.
Okay, I see.
You can do whatever you want. Okay, but you cannot rename root. Root is fixed. You can modify that.
Yeah. Root is just like the main foundation of the
Yeah,
firewall.
just like we have drive C, right? When you if you have a new laptop and you turn it on, you have a single drive that is drive C, right?
Yeah.
You cannot remove drive C. You can remove other partitions. You can create further partitions from drive C, right? But you can remove drive C, right? So that's the point.
Got it. Thank you. The example was very clear. Thank you.
So certificates. Okay, so till now, what we have learned is with reference to the device specific things that is applicable for routing, switching, one of the devices that you think of. Okay. But from this day, from this moment, we are now going into the security aspect. Okay. That actually is related to the firewall security functioning. Okay. That if till now what we have learned is how to create a policy, how to do a NATing, how to manage a TS and HA and all, but it didn't involve any security aspect into it, right? So now we are going into the security. And whenever it is a concept of security, okay, no matter which feature you talk about in security, all concepts ask a single question. And that question is identity trust. Okay. First question is why I should trust you. That's security question. No matter which feature you are working on which security concept you are working on, every concept is focused to get a single answer. That is identity. Whosoever is coming to me, I just want to know who you are. Right? Just think, you are some important person, you had some bodyguards, right? That's for your security purpose, right? You may be installing some cameras onto your premises. Why? For your security purpose, right? Why you are doing that? Because you want to know who is coming, right? The identity of the person. You want to know that. That's why you have hired the bodyguard. He's the one who will first stop, hey, who you are, who do you want to meet, and all sorts of questions. That's why you have CCTV in the first place. You want to identify the person who entered without your knowledge. Security is all about asking a question about identity. Okay, so we have to establish that. If I'm not confirm about the identity, I have a suspicion upon you and I will drop it. I will not allow you. Okay, that's the thing with the security. Now, when we see identity, the first thing that is certificates. Because here, maybe let's say for example, how you know that I am the person who I am saying so? You are simply hearing my audios, right? Or let's say if I meet somewhere at any public places.
Rohan, are you sharing your screen? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm not sharing it right now.
Oh, okay, that's fine then. Okay.
So if anyone meets you and he says that, hey, I am so and so person, how would you know that? Let's say someone came to your place and he said that, hey, I'm from a service company to like provide a free service for your ACs and all. Will you allow him to enter to your house? No. You will check now that, okay, fine, who has booked the service, right? And of course, I may have booked the service, but how would I make sure that you are from the same company? So what you're going to ask? That show me your ID, right?
Yeah.
You are going to confirm his ID. Show me that ID. So the ID card that he carries will hold the proof. Now, anyone can fabricate the ID, right? So nowadays, you might have noticed now when a service guy came or like visits your place, and once he is finished with his work, he will say that, hey, sir, you will be receiving an OTP onto your phone. Please tell me once so that I can enter and confirm that the service is done, right? Do they ask you that once you receive a parcel from the Amazon or from Blue Dot?
Yes.
That OTP, right? So why you may fabricate an ID card of the Blue Dot, but you cannot fabricate the OTP, right? So the point is you are trying to be much more secure. Why you are getting an OTP? Because the company, the service that the Blue Dot is giving you is ensuring that, hey, look, before my agent comes to your place, you will be receiving a message which will tell at what time the agent will be visiting and what is his name and what his contact number is. That is already sent to you before that agent comes to your place, right? So that you can verify the identity of that agent, right? And once that agent has delivered the package, you will be getting an OTP, which the agent also has to enter into its system, so that the agent is also confirming the identity of the customer, that I have sent the package to the right people, because you may come back saying that, hey, you might have delivered it, but you have not delivered it to the right place, right? You might have given it to someone else, right? So the company is also verifying the identity. So it's not that only you have to verify the identity of the provider, but the provider is also have to confirm the identity of the service customers. Yes or no? It's a mutual. Correct? Correct?
Yeah.
Plus the service provider is like verifying your identity. It's with reference to OTP. He's sending you the OTP. If you are the same person, you will receive the OTP on your number. But if you are someone else, you will not get that OTP, right? So that's the case. So both the parties are happy. I have verified your identity. You have confirmed my identity. Hence, everything is fine. In networks, it's the same thing. Your browser will also verify the identity of the destination, whosoever is willing to talk to. Because after all, over the internet, you simply type youtube.com. But are you sure you are talking to youtube.com? Because after all, the traffic is going onto the internet. right? Anyone can act as a youtube.com. How would you know that? So your verify will confirm the identity. And so does this YouTube server will also confirm that he is talking to the right PC. Okay, not to some attackers who is like trying to pose as a client, but after all, once he get the access, he's like going to just bring down the YouTube server. Okay, so he's also not going to take a chance. So the both these sides will be confirming their identities. Now, how do the network do that? In our human worlds, we have several things, OTPs, our ID cards, our government issue cards, right? Maybe passport, maybe Aadhaar ID, PAN numbers, whatsoever, right? We have a lot of documents which proves who I am and what I am. So in networking, what is that document which will prove who you are? That document is called certificate. Okay. Now, say how a certificate is being used, how the certificate is or where should you be using it. Okay. To understand that, first let us see how a certificate is generated. Okay. Then we will move step by step. Okay. Now, before I go into that certificates, let me first share my screen though. Share. Hey, did I log out? Okay. All devices turned off. If this time they remove my configuration, I'm going to kill them. Come on, man. Not with this. There. Okay, so let it be, okay, fine. See here. With reference to where I was, yeah, okay. So let me delete these first. Okay, fine. See here. Before we go into the certificates, okay, let us take our it's like example of our own countries and all. Okay, so how we get a document. Okay, so it is so irrespective of the country that you may reside on. Okay, we all know about the passports, right? We all know about the passports.
Yep.
Okay, so let us see how we get a passport. Okay, let us understand that how we get a passport. So if I have to get the passport, what is the first thing that I have to do? Fill up the form.
Yeah.
The first thing I have to do is fill up the form. Maybe online, maybe offline, whatever the reason is. Okay. Well, I have to fill up the form, right? Once I have filled up the form, what I have to do? I have to submit
relevant documents.
Yeah. So once I fill up the form, in that I will attach all my documents, what it has asked for. So once my form is ready, now I have to submit that form. Submit
Yes.
form. Where you will be submitting that form.
At the passport office, if it is offline?
Yeah, submit the form at the passport office or like maybe on the portal and all
Yeah.
of your region, right? Okay, now third, what will happen? The passport office will verify, right?
Yes, yes.
Passport office is going to verify your information. It will verify the info or your form, what you have given, all the documents and everything. It will verify your name, addresses, and everything is there, right? Once the verification is completed, then the passport office will issue you the passport. Correct? That's the process.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's fine. Okay. I have filled up the form. I have submitted to the passport office. And the passport office is now verifying all my information and like documents which I have submitted. And once the verification is completed and if it's a successful, I will get my own passport. Right now. For example, I have issued the passport myself. Okay, I know how a passport looks like. I have got the same page, it's like materials and all, and I just fabricated my own passport. And I went straight into the airports and all. Will I be allowed?
No.
Will that document will stand valid, although it's a passport? No, it's a fake passport or it's a invalid passport, right? Now, so that means the issuer of the passport is someone who is trusted by everyone. Now let me take an example. I reside in India, right? So my passport is issued by Government of India.
Correct.
Now I walked into, let's say, Sydney. Okay, I just walked into the Sydney airport. I like landed into there, and the immigration guys asked me for the passport, business or pleasure. Now they will verify the passport.
Yep.
Now they will say, hey, your passport is good and working. I'm like, sorry, not working. It's like your like passport is good and like welcome to our country, right? And it's all done. Why did he say that? Does he know how does it's like have I got a fake passport or it's a right passport that has actually been issued by Government of India? How does he know that? That means there is a certain chain of trust, right? There is a certain mechanism that is building a trust relationship between two countries. He knows what is the original passport that has been issued by that country and what is not, right? Into his database. There would be something, right? What is that? Now, I'm coming to this. Hey, I'm getting a notification. Participants can now see your screen. So was my screen gone for a moment?
No.
No, your screen is visual.
Okay, fine. So I think Zoom has gone crazy. Okay. Okay, so submit the form. Okay, fine. So see, when we are going to submit the form of the passport office, okay, so I will take this example of my country itself, India, okay. So now we are going to cross China itself, man. Okay, by this year only we are going to cross China. Okay, so till now, as per official record, we are 1.3 billion people as a country. Imagine someone who is sitting in the passport office and getting the application of 1.3 billion passport applications. He will leave the job instantly. If I would be that, I would believe that. I will, okay, go hell with this job. 1.3 billion applications now. I cannot do that. Okay. Even though I have a very, very big team, the people will get the passport issued maybe in upcoming 3 to 4 years. That would be the waiting time. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So that doesn't look good. Okay. In India, we used to have such a thing, setups and all, where it's like getting a passport was a big task few decades back. Not few decades, just a decade back. Okay, we have to wait for a very long period to get a passport. But now it's all done. The TCS got the project, and TCS did what? It created several Seva Kendras, PSK centers, okay, passport centers at every city, at every village level. So
Yeah.
now it's like it was all done online and all, and now we can get a passport within the next 48 hours and like maximum up to 7 days, and we are good with that passport. Everything is done. Okay, so see, the point is how the passport is getting issued. Now see, for an example, there is one authority. Okay, there is one authority. Now please understand this hierarchy, because this is important for the certificates as well. Okay, see here, there is one hierarchy, that is Government of India. Supreme, okay, someone sitting in the Delhi. Okay, so Government of India is there. Now Government of India said, hey, I cannot manage these billions of applications. Okay, that is taking a lot of time for me to work onto it. Okay, and the productivity is very low. So what I will do is I will transfer my authorities or powers to my states, right? He will say, okay, fine. Instead that every application has to come onto me, I give the authority on my behalf to the state's government that you can issue the certificate, you can issue the passport on my behalf, right? Okay, fine. Okay. Now state is saying, hey, each state, like for example, let's say Karnataka. Karnataka is a state where I believe more than 20 crores, and like UP is also one of the states. The India's states also have a very large population. Okay. So states are saying that, hey, for me also, handling that amount of crores of application is difficult. Okay, millions of applications is difficult. So what I will do is I will transfer the authority to district levels. Yes or no?
Yep.
Now, each district may also have a wide or a vast population depending upon district to district. If a certain district has a very high population, he will also get a hey, city or to a certain villages, right? City to city or to a certain village, whatsoever is the part is. So that if I have to submit the form, I do not have to go and submit to the Government of India or neither to the states. I can simply walk to nearby my city offices, passport offices, and I can submit my application there. Yes or no? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I have submitted my form at city level, for an example, let's say. Okay, so I have submitted my form. Now, when I submit the form, the first question comes into my mind is, see, my form is containing all my details, my documents, my certificates, everything is into that, right? Whatever the document that they have asked me to submit that. The first question, okay, is how would I know that, hey, the center or the office where I'm submitting my application is actually a authorized center to submit the passport application, right? Just because you hang up a board saying that you are a passport office, why I will trust that? Okay. So how will I confirm that? So if I ask that question to that representative of the CT office, he will say, hey, this is my registration ID number of the office. You can verify that I have been issued the authority by the district administration that I can process the passport application. Okay, fine. You say so, I will go to district database. I will say, hey, have you really issued this registration ID for a so-and-so office, which is in my city, the district database will say, yes, I have. Okay, so the identity of the city is confirmed. That, okay, this is a right place. But, next question. Okay, you might have issued the authority to the city, but why I should trust you? Who has given you the power to issue an authorized center into my city? Who has given you that power? Do you really have that right? The district will say, okay, fine. You can check my authority that has been given to me by my estates, right? So, okay, fine. I will go to the estate. I will say, hey, have you given the authority to district to issue the centers? Is that a valid district passport office and all? State will check its database and it will say, yes, the district office is a valid one and that has been authorized by me. Okay, fine. So that proves that the district was not lying and district established its confirmation that it is a valid authorized center. Okay, but then again the same question to the state: who has given you the power that you can issue the such a kind of an authority? Now the state will say that, hey, if you want to check upon my authority that has been issued or that has been given to me by the government of India, just go and like verify whether this state has the power to process your application or not. Okay, fine. I will go to the government of India. I will say, okay, fine. Hey, have you really given the authority to so-and-so state with so-and-so power? Government of India will say, yes, as per my database, I can see that the center that you are talking about has a valid authority. Okay, fine. Now again, the same question to the government of India. Who has given you the power that you can issue that kind of an status to any states? Now government of India will say that, hey, no one is ever me. I have issued that power with myself, okay? It's me, I am the head. No one is ever me. I can do whatever I want, right? So government of India is also validated. So the point is, if any of this chain is broken, that means the authority of the city is cancelled. Assume city has been authorized by district. District has been authorized by states. States has been authorized by government of India. But if due to some situation, God forbid any war kind of a situation, the government of that country is itself collapsed. If a country itself collapses, the main government of the country itself collapse, does the certificate that is issued by that government or by that city or district or state stands valid? No. Right? For an example, there was some fake district office who gave some fake license to the city office. Now, if the district is fake, that means the passport that will be issued or processed by the city, will it stand valid? The government of India will say, hey, where have you got this passport from? Right? Right?
Yeah,
Yes,
correct.
There should be a proper chain of trust. So whenever I get my passport, and if that passport is saying that, hey, this passport has been issued at so-and-so place, that's fine. But the chain of the identity confirmation has to be established. Then only this passport is said to be a valid passport. Clear? Clear?
Yeah.
Now, when a passport is being issued, okay, when you submit the form, what does the government is checking? Your name, your address, your pictures, your documents, right? It is checking onto that, and then it is giving, once everything is validated, then it is giving you the document. Now, the process that is followed in order to get the document of the passport, that is seen in the certificates. Now see here, any country is not trusting Karnataka government or any other state government. They are not trusting any city level administration. They are not trusting any district level administrator. They are trusting whom? Government of India. Okay? They are trusting whom? Government of India. So when I said that I will show my passport at the Sydney airport, the Australian government will confirm. They have a treaty that they will be syncing up with the database which will confirm the identity of the document. How? Government of India. So they trust Government of India. That's why when the Government of India says, yes, the passport serial number which you are referring to is being issued in this country and he is a valid citizen, then only he is asking me welcome to the country. If the Government of India says, no, I don't have any information who he is, gone. Clear? Clear? The same concept we will have in certificates. In the networks, as how a human behaves, the same way the network also behaves. After all, it is designed by the humans, right? So this is the same thing. Now see, I will take the same example here. Now, if I have to get a certificate, okay, if I have to get a certificate, let me minimize this. Now let's say I have to get a certificate here. The first thing I will do is fill up the form. You have to first fill up the form if you want to get a certificate. Second, you have to then submit that form to authorized centers or to authorized place, right? Third, that authorized center or the place will verify your form. Correct? And fourth, once the verification is completed, they will then issue the certificate. Same approach what you followed in the passport. Okay. Now, when you say that I am going to fill up the form, that form is called CSR. CSR stands for CSR. Stands for Certificate Signing Request. Okay, it's the name of the form. Once you fill up the form and the form that you submit, that form is called CSR. Certificate Signing Request. That, hey, please sign this form and give me a certificate. That is what it is. And the place where you submit your form, these authorized centers are referred as CA. Okay, CA means Certificate
Authority.
Authority. Okay, so only the CS can issue you the certificate, no one else. And when I see that it will verify your form, what does it verify? It verifies the name of your company, the address of your company, the domain name that you are asking the certificate for. You are asking the certificate for which domain? Let's say, for example, I have a company called XYZ. So I want a certificate for xyz.com. Now, if there is already someone who has xyz.com certificate, my form will be rejected. They will say, hey, there is already an existing certificate for xyz.com that has been issued to someone else. You please give a different name. Then I will say, okay, fine, give me the certificate for xyz.co.in. If that's a unique domain, of course I will get it. Okay, clear? Clear?
Yeah.
I will show you how a CSR looks like. I will show you how to generate it. Okay, do not worry. But just to give you a fair sense of an idea, you are filling up a form. That form once filled is called CSR. You submit that CSR to the authorized center. That center is called CA, Certificate Authority. For example, GoDaddy.com. Okay, Verizon. So there are multiple CAs, okay, in the market where you can submit your CSR and they will issue a certificate on someone's behalf. Okay. Now, what they do is they simply verify your content. It's like what is the domain that you are asking the certificate for, who you are, and all those things. Okay, it's a simple information. And once the verification is successful, they will issue you a certificate. That is what they do. Okay, the same process as you follow in the passport. Now here, I mentioned that you will submit on a CA. The same thing. Okay, the CA is also crying, hey, every minute I'm getting billions of millions of requests, man, to sign a certificate. The workload is very, very high. What I should do? Same thing. He will do what? He will say, okay, I'm going to issue the authority to, I will create other CAs. Hey, you also process, man. Okay, you also start processing the CSR and you issue the certificate. I give you that power. Okay, that power is given by me. Issue that. He will also say that, hey, I also have a very high workload. So I will create a other CAs. Then I've given you the power, man. You please start doing it. Okay, you start issuing the certificate on my behalf. Okay, fine. He may also have a certain amount of load, so he can also create the other CAs. That you please issue the certificate on my behalf. Okay, so they can do that. It's the same structure. Government of India, states, districts, and city. Okay, now these CAs are also referred as ICA. ICA stands for Intermediate CA. ICA stands for Intermediate CA, Certificate Authority. Intermediate means someone who is in between. Okay. So, which one is the ICA? Because see, when you deal with a certificate kind of a situation, the other side may come up with such terms. Okay, they will say, hey, it's an ICA certificate, I got it from that. They will try to use all these fancy and scary words. Okay. Now, do not get carried away with this. ICA simply says, he is simply saying that it is not being issued by the root certificate. Who is root? Root is this. This is root, Government of India. No one is above him. He is Supremo, Superman. Okay. Every other superheroes are given. So he is the one who is giving the authority, man. Superman. He is root CA. And whatever the root CA has issued, that is ICA. Now, with reference to this certificate, if you see, with reference to this certificate, if I see with reference to this certificate, then this is the ICA, and for this is root certificate. See, the definition will change depending upon which certificate you are looking at. Okay, so if you ask me that, hey, what about this CA certificate? Then this is the ICA, and for him the root certificate is the upper one who has issued him, right? But the same certificate is ICA when we look with reference to the actual root CA. Okay. Similarly, I can say this is ICA when I look it with reference to this certificate, but this will act as root for him. Clear? So these are just the words. Okay. So never ever when someone talks, do not focus onto it. Whether they say root, they say ICA, in your mind, you simply think, you keep on talking, man. For me, it's a CA certificate. That's it. Clear? Clear? Whether it's an ICA, whether it's a root CA, they do the same thing. The role is to issue the certificate. Okay? So you keep on throwing some fancy words to me. For me, it's CA. Okay? But you should know that if in case I get 2 CA certificates, how would I know that which one is a root CA and which one is the ICA? How would I know that? See, that means you have to focus on this. I'm loving this color, man. Issued to and issued by. Okay, focus on these two fields whenever you want to have a confirmation onto that. Issued to will say, like I'll take an example of the passport, okay? So it will say, hey, the authority has been issued to the state, and who has given the authority? Government of India. Okay, this is what you will say when you will check with the states. So a state will have this information. Okay, but when you will check with the Government of India, he will say issued to Government of India and issued by Government of India, right? So the issued to and issued by will be same, because who will give the authority to Government of India? No one. He himself is the supreme authority, right? So if the issued to and issued by is same, that means it's called root. And if it's different, then it's called ICA. Clear? Clear? Clear?
Can you repeat once again?
Okay, see, I'm saying, okay, let me put an example in this way. This is CA, this is CA1, this is CA2, this is CA3, this is CA4, okay, this is CA5, this is CA6, one example, okay. Now, if you check with reference to CA3 certificate, if you want to check with reference to CA3, CA3 will say that, hey, I have been issued by CA1,
CA1.
and this authority has been issued to whom? CA3, right?
CA3.
So he will tell you that this authority has been issued to CA3 by whom? CA1. Right?
CA1, right.
Now, if you will check with CA1, CA1 will say that, hey, the authority has been issued to CA1
CA1.
by whom?
CA.
CA, right?
Yes.
When you will check with the CA will say that, hey, the authority has been issued to CA.
CA by
CA.
CA.
He himself is the supreme man. No one is a okay. So now this is what I'm saying. If you see issued to and issued by as a same, that means it's a root certificate.
Okay.
And if you see that the issued to and issued by is a different, that means it's a ICA.
ICA. Okay. Okay.
Now, there's one more thing. How you will know that whether the certificate which you are looking upon is actually a root certificate or ICA certificate or a client certificate, right? Right?
Yeah.
How you will know that? So first of all, this is what you have to focus in order to verify between root CA and ICA, but you also have to see CA. Okay, there is a certificate type, I will show you that, which it will say CA true, CA false. Okay, so if it is saying CA true, that means this is a CA certificate. Now, whether this is a root CA certificate or ICA certificate, that is something which you have to check onto this part, issued to and issued by. Okay, if issued to and issued by is same, it's a root CA. If it is different, it's a ICA. But if CA says false, that means it is not a CA certificate. It is simply a client certificate. Clear? Let me show you that. A quick thing. Okay, I will show you a quick thing. Okay, now they have started. Okay, fine. See here. Where is that field? Key usage. No, 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 no. Not this, not this, not this, not this. Hey, there it is. Presence during destination. No, not this, not this. Not this. Yeah, here it should have been. Yeah, basic constant, critical. Yeah, see it is written. Hey, they have changed everything, man. Okay. Is not a certificate authority, right? It is saying
Yeah.
that Google.com certificate is not a CA. Okay, actually you would have seen like this. CA true and CA false. Earlier we used to see that. I'm not sure if they have modified this now. Okay. So yes, okay, fine. Is not a certificate authority. Okay, it is clearly writing that. But if you see here, see the flow. See, actually, Google.com certificate is issued by CA1C3, right?
Yes.
See, I'm asking the same question. What I asked with the passport pins, okay? I'm asking the same question. Google.com sent me the certificate. He said that, hey, look, this is my certificate. Okay. Before I go into detail, first tell me, who has given you the certificate? Right? That's the first question.
Yes.
You might have created a false certificate. So who has given you this certificate? Google.com will say, hey, look, I have been issuer. Who is the issuer? Who is the issuer?
CA.
CA1C3.
Yes.
Okay. He's saying
Yeah.
they have been issued by GTS CA1C3. If you go in general also, you can see that issued to, see this is issued to google.com, right? And who has issued? Issued by GTS CA1C3, right?
Yes.
So he's saying, hey, you can check with the GTS CA1C3. He has given me the certificate. Okay. Now why I should trust GTS CA1C3? So I will go to GTS CA1C3. I will go to GTS CA1C3. See, here only I am having that. Okay. Now GTS CA1C3, I will say, okay, fine. Hey, who you are? He will say, hey, I am CA cert. I have the power to issue the certificate. I will say, prove me that you have the power to issue the certificate. He will say, okay, look at this. Is a certificate authority. Right?
Right.
He's saying that, hey, look, I am the CA certificate. Hence, I can issue the certificate, and that's why I have issued the certificate to Google. Okay, fine. But who has given you the power to issue the certificate? He will say, hey, I have been given the power by GTS root R1. Right?
Okay. Okay.
So, okay, fine. Let me go to GTS root R1. I will go to GTS root R1. I will say, hey, how you have given the authority to 1C3, since like GTS CA1C3, how you can issue the certificate to him? He will say, because I am the CA. See, he is saying.
Okay.
He's saying, I am the CA, so I can issue the certificate. Hence, I have given the power to GTS CA1C3. Okay, fine. But who has given you the power that you can give that? He will say, okay, you're asking me that. It's me only. GTS root R1, right?
Okay.
Issued to and issued by is same. He is saying I am supremo. That means now I know it is a root certificate. Okay, not by the name. Why? Because issuer and issued to is same, as well as it is a certificate authority. That's why I am calling it as a root CA. I'm not calling it as a root CA because it has a root into its name. Okay?
Okay.
Clear with the question that I asked?
Yeah,
What
Rohan
the
sir,
browser is also asking. Yes, yes, please tell me.
Rohan sir, under the GTS root R1, it is showing it is a certificate authority, right? Now below that it is maximum number of intermediate CA is unlimited. So that means they can assign to next level of authorities and number of certificate, right?
That means it can create or it can generate multiple ICA.
I see. Okay.
It can
And
certificate on his behalf, like he has created this one.
yeah,
Who has issued the certificate to google.com, right?
right.
That is what the case is. Yes. Tell me.
And when you click on GTCA 1C3, there if you click on issuer or somewhere where I found that maximum number of intermediate is 0, so they cannot pass on.
He cannot create further ICAs. He can only issue the certificate to the clients, but he cannot distribute his workload by creating or forming a different CA.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
See, asking the same question. Okay, it's all about identity trust.
Yeah. Got it. I got it clear.
This is why when the Google sent the certificate, he didn't only send the certificate of his, but also he sent the certificates of all the parties that is involved in issuing the certificate to the google.com, right?
Right. Got it.
So Google is saying, I have been issued this certificate by this person. And this person is saying, I have been given the power by this one. And he is saying, I have the whole power. So I don't have to give anyone else, right? So that's why this is called chain of trust. You might hear this term, chain of trust.
Yes.
So this is called chain of trust. Okay. So chain of trust means you will start checking from client to the top. So never follow from top to bottom. Follow from bottom to top. Okay. That is how your PC is doing. That is how your browser also checks. Bottom to top. Okay. Who has given you? He. Who has given you? He. Okay. So each certificate should be valid. If, for an example, this google.com certificate is valid, this is also valid, but this is not valid, then automatically these two will not be valid.
Valid, right.
Okay. That is how the trust is built up. But I will come to the point where how we will see that a browser verifies a certificate, or for that matter, how any device verifies a certificate. Okay, we will come to that point. But till this point, is it clear, everyone?
Yeah. And one more question. Is there any lifespan of this certificate that after a certain period, again, this need to be validated with the root?
Yes. Not with the root. I will come to that. This is the validity, not before, not after. It is giving time. Okay.
Okay.
So the certificate is valid only before this and till 23rd, 22. That is 20th of February 23. 2023. Okay. So this certificate is only valid for 2 more months. That's it.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Now, so before I come to that, that how a certificate is verified and checked, is this clear?
Yes, cleared.
What I mentioned? Okay, fine. Now see here. Come on. Okay, I will commonly. Okay, so see here. So if you have, okay, now let's understand how a certificate is generated. Okay, so one thing is confirmed, you are filling up the form that is called CSR and then you are sending it to the CA. Okay, now the CA is verifying it and it is then issuing you the certificate. So what is the process? How does it issue a certificate? See, when a CSR is generated, okay, when you send a CSR, every CA has two keys, or every certificate has two keys, must have two keys. One key is called private key and other key is called public key. Clear? Clear? Fine?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, these two keys are asymmetrical. Asymmetrical means they are not same. Okay, they are not same. So each certificate will have two keys, private key and public key, and they are not same, they are asymmetrical. Now, but even though they are asymmetrical, note that whatever you do using the private key, whatever you do using the private key can be understood by using the public key. Okay. Now it should not be any public key. It should be of the same key pair. Okay. It should belong to the same key pair. Okay. It's a pair. So I'm talking about these private key and public key pair. So if what you do with this private key, that can be easily understood by this public key. And whatever you do using this public key can be easily understood by using the private key. Clear? Clear? Now, the point is, private key is never shared. Okay? The private key is never ever shared to anyone. Never ever shared. Private key is never ever shared. It's for you only. That's why we are calling it as a private. Okay. If we are going to exchange it with anyone or share it with anyone, there is no sense of private, right? So private key is never ever shared. Whereas public key is the key that is being shared to any other party. Clear? 2 points. So remember 2 points, or actually three points. That every certificate has a key pair, and that pair constitutes of two keys which are not same. That is private key and public key. Second thing, whatever you do with the private key, the same can be understood or it can be read using the public key of the same pair. And whatever you do with the public key, that can be understood or read using the private key of the same pair. And third, private key is never shared, whereas public key is shared. Clear? Clear? Hey, give me yes or no something.
Yes, yes. Sorry.
See, if you do not give me a note, I'm not sure whether you are okay with this point or not, because else what's the point of that? I will move further, right? That will create confusion. So see here, with reference to the CA, okay, now, like I mentioned, when you are going to submit the CSR, when you fill up the form, okay, at that point of time, your system or on the device where you are forming the CSR, where you are creating a CSR, okay, that will also generate two key pairs. Okay, that will also generate two key pairs. Okay, now, okay, so that will also generate two key pairs. One is private and one is public. Okay, they will generate that. Now, when the CSR is sent to the CA, when you fill up the form and send it, you actually send CSR plus your public key. That is what you send to the CA certificate. Okay. And what does your CA do? Your CA will then calculate the hash of this. Okay. It will calculate the hash of this certificate or of the CR. Okay. So let's say whatever the hash that it comes across to. So it will calculate that hash and then it will sign it. It will sign this hash using the CA private key. Okay. And when this hash is signed by the CA private key, the thing that is generated is called certificate of that client. Clear? And this is the certificate that is then sent to you by the CA that, hey, you have got your certificate. So what is the certificate? Certificate is nothing but the hash of CSR which has been signed by CA private key. Clear? Clear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how will I know, like the question that I asked, okay, that how will I know if that person is sending me the certificate that, hey, look, I have got this certificate. So this is a valid certificate, please check, right? So how will I know that he's got the same certificate? It's like he's actually showing me the valid certificate. So, like I mentioned, this is the CA certificate, right? So every browser or every system or every device who is capable to process a certificate, they have a pre-installed list of CA certificates. They have a pre-installed list of CA certificates. Okay, and that CA certificate will always contain public key. See, whenever a certificate is sent to you, now this certificate also contains the public key. Okay, that is of your own public key. Okay, this one, this public key, your client own public key. Okay. But CA also has a key pair, right? CA also has a key pair. So CA will also send you the public key. Okay, so let me show you that and this will make much more sense. MMC. See here, I will show you. Add, remove snap-in, certificates, add, computer account, next. Finish. Okay. See here, certificates. Okay. See, trusted root certificates. Do you see this? A list of trusted root certificates, a list of intermediate certificate authorities. Do you see that? Right. So here, if you open trusted root certificates, see here, all the root certificates are listed in the system. If you open your ICA also, see here, the ICA is also, few of the ICAs are listed here, right? Correct? So if you open any of that certificate, for example, I open this certificate. Now see, this certificate is a root certificate, right? See, issued to and issued by is same. And the basic constant is saying that it's a CA. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a root CA certificate. But also see here, my firewall, my PC has the public key of this certificate. The root CA has given his public key. Right? I told you public key is something which can be shared to anyone, right? So the CA has given his certificate which contains the public key. Now, how this is useful? Now, while I was showing you this, the Google certificate, right? See here, when the question is, when the Google is showing me this certificate, okay? Google is showing me this certificate. So, Google is saying that, hey, I have been issued by GTS CA1C3, right? He's saying you that Google has been issued by GTS CA1C3. So, if the Google certificate has been issued by GTS CA1C3, that means GTS CA1C3 has signed the CSR of Google using its private key. Yes or no? Then only the certificate is generated, huh?
Yep.
Then only the certificate is generated. So if I have to verify that certificate, that means what I told you, whatever that has been done using the CA private key or using any certificate private key that can be understood or read using the same key pair public key. So see here, just give me a moment please. Okay, so see here, there is a certificate signature value. Okay, so when the CA signed the Google certificate, I told you, it signs the hash, right? This is the hash. Clear? Clear? What is that hash it is using? See your fingerprints. So I have the CA1C3 public key. So using the CA1C3 public key, which I have in his certificate here, subject's public key, right? This is the ICA public key. So I will use this public key in order to calculate the hash of google.com certificate. And if that hash comes as same as what I see here, that means it's a match. The identity is confirmed. Okay, let me put it in this way. You guys are silent, so I'm not sure if the point is getting through or not, but I'm hoping it's not. So I'll put it in a different example. See here, I am sending you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 information. So this is the data that I'm sending you. Okay. Now there is someone who is here and he modified the data to 1 asterisk 2, 3, 4, 5. That is what he did. Okay. And now you received it. So do you know what I sent actually? No, right? Did you know what? Hey, I'm not, give me yes, no, nothing at all. Or else I will keep on talking. I'm not sure if you guys are getting this concept or not, because this is really important. I'm talking about securities. If this is not clear, none of the security concepts will be clear.
Okay.
So whatever I'm sending, whatever the sender is sending, does the receiver know about that, what he has sent? No. Hence, if someone is there who modified the data, then you will never know.
Yes.
You will assume that this is the actual data that has been sent to you, right?
Correct. Correct.
You will start working on a different or a incorrect data. Okay, so that is not something you want. So what you want to do that? That is where the checksum or the hashing comes into picture. So what the sender will do is, when he will fabricate the data, he will calculate a hash value. Okay, the hashing algorithm can be SHA-1, SHA-2, whatever the algorithm. Okay, so he will say that, hey, I have calculated the hash value which is coming as ABC when I have done it using the SHA-1, okay, algorithm. So the hash value is ABC, and now it is sending the data. Now if someone tries to modify the content, but still the hashing is this, right? So when you receive it, what you will do? You will rerun the hash on this data, and will the hash will come same? If the content is different, that means you will come up with a different hash.
Yes.
And then you will see that, hey, I am getting the hash as DEF, but you have sent me the hash of ABC. So it's a mismatch. That means someone has altered the content.
Correct.
Right? So that is how you prevent the integrity of the data. So wherever you have to ensure the integrity of your data, the hashing is there. Okay, you have to perform the hashing in order to prevent the integrity of the data. Clear? The same thing here as well. That is what I am saying. When a certificate was signed, okay, so he calculated a hash and then he signed it using his using his private key, right? Correct? Right or not?
Yes.
So this hash is actually encrypted. Actually, when I say signed, so that means it is encrypted using the CA private key, right? CA private key. Now, if I am sending this certificate to someone saying that, hey, this certificate is a valid certificate, okay, you please check. So he will see now that, like, okay, fine, who has issued this certificate to you? He will say that, oh, I have been issued by that CARC31. Okay, fine. So that certificate is containing that signed hash, the one which I just showed you here, signed value.
Yeah.
So what the browser will do is he will take the public key of the issuer, that is the CA certificate, who has issued this certificate. So he will go to GPS CA1C3, he will take the public key of his. What is the public key? The public key is here. And using his public key, he will try to decrypt that signature, right? Once he decrypts that signature, he will know about the hash value, right?
Yes. Yes.
Once he has the hash value, then he will run his own hashing algorithm on the entire certificate. He will run his own hashing algorithm on his entire certificate, and if that hash is same as what he saw here, then that means, yes, this certificate has been issued by the issuer, right?
Yep.
That is how it is confirming. Okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Fine. See, so that is one thing, okay? That how it confirms that whether this certificate has been issued by this CA or not. Okay. Now, there are other aspects as well, which is used in order to verify whether the certificate is valid or not. For an example, validity dates. Okay, validity dates. That maybe this certificate was issued 6 months back, right? And after that, the certificate has not been renewed. Okay, the certificate has not been renewed. When that happens, that means although this certificate was issued 6 months back, but as of current date, it is not valid, right? Because it is expired. It's just like your credit card. You have got your credit card from the bank, but it has an expiry date into it, right? That this card is valid till this point, till this date. After that, you have to renew your credit card. Yes or no?
Yep.
Right? So that's the same thing. Okay, so it will also check the validity dates. And not only that, there is also one parameter that it will check. And let's say, for example, let's say you are trying to access Google. Okay. Now, the server is sending you a certificate. And when you open that certificate, you saw that that certificate belongs to YouTube. The certificate is a valid certificate, okay? It has a validity date, everything is fine. You checked with the issuer and all, everything is fine. But it's a YouTube certificate. So will you accept this certificate?
No.
No, right? It's like I am saying that, hey, my name is Rohan, but I am carrying the passport which says that my name is Rajiv, right? So it's like that is contradict. I cannot just take anyone's passport and like just start
Traveling.
right? I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Although that passport is valid, but that do not belong to me. right? So that is something also that has to be checked. That really does this certificate actually belongs to google.com? Because after all, like I mentioned, it's all about identity confirmation. Secure, if whenever we say identity confirmation, it's all about certificate. Certificate is there to prove who he is. So if the certificate says he is YouTube, I will believe he is YouTube. So how you will do that? So in certificate, there are two fields. One is called subject, or is also referred as CN, common name, okay? And the other one is called SAN, that is subject alternative name, okay? So first of all, it will check the subject, that what is the name that it has, okay? So it will go here, it will see in subject. In subject, do you see common name? It is saying wildcard entry, okay? *google.com. So that means you may have www.google.com. You may have www.1.google.com, whatsoever you have before .google.com. It is valid for entire google.com. Clear? Clear?
Yes.
So this confirms that this is a google.com certificate. But let's say I have accessed google.co.in or google.uk, for an example, okay? I will access google.se, or I think SA is for Saudi Arabia, right? SA or AE, something to that. I'm not sure if this will work here for me, but okay, let me go with this, google.co.in. I will access this. It worked. Okay,
Spelling is wrong.
I did a typo. Google.co.in. See, I got google.co.in, right? But I will check the certificates. See here. Go in the, see it is saying google.co.in, okay? So when I go in subject, google.co.in, right?
Yes.
Okay, but you may come across a certain thing, like for an example, Gmail, okay? Gmail.com, one example. If I go with that, now here accounts.gmail is there. Here I am getting, see what the certificate I'm getting of google.com, right? I access Gmail, right?
Yeah.
What I'm getting?
Google.
Google. Okay. Check this subject name, Google. *google.com, right? See, it's a stand right for accounts.google.com as well. Because it's asterisk. Asterisk means any. So accounts.google.com is also right here. So this is saying that, hey, my certificate belongs to so and so. Okay. For an example, I access YouTube. This YouTube. Now, if I go into these certificates, see here, what I see?
Google.com,
right? Subject is google.com. I am looking for YouTube. Why you are sending me a Google certificate, man? This is not a valid certificate, but you can see here the lock sign. It is saying trusted. Connection is secure, right? Certificate is valid. It is saying you that. Why? That is where you go into SAN. Subject alternative name. There it is. Yeah, here. SAN. See here. It contains all the other domains that this certificate is right for. This certificate is right for google.com, App Engine, and if you browse it, you will also see it is right for YouTube. YouTube no cookie. You will see YouTube here somewhere. See here, YouTube. Do you see this?
Yeah.
So what is SAN? See, your web server can host multiple websites. You may be hosting multiple websites on a single server, right? So for each website, you may request for a different certificate. You may want to do that, okay? But when it comes the time to renew the certificates, if you have 100 domains, you have got the 100 certificates, you have to renew those 100 certificates, right? Right?
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, what you can do is you can get a single certificate for all the 100 domains. Okay, so that certificate is actually google.com. So the main name is google.com, but this certificate is also true for all the other listed domains. Clear?
Yeah.
That is why we call this field as subject alternative name. Okay, that means, yes, this certificate belongs to google.com, but as well as this certificate belongs to these other domains as well. Clear?
Yes.
So, if I am requesting for any domain and if I am getting a certificate response from the server, that certificate should contain that domain which I have asked for either in subject field or in SAN, subject alternative name. If I do not see the name of the domain that I requested for in either of that field of the certificate, I will not trust this certificate. I will say it's a wrong certificate. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what it has been checked in the certificates. So how our validity is confirmed? Of course, with reference to verifying the chain trust. Second, validity dates issued on and when does the certificate expires. This will also tell me that. Third, subject name and subject alternative name. Clear? Clear?
Yes.
Now, for an example, just think here, for an example,
Ron sir, I have one query.
yes, please.
Suppose like Google is there and he acquires some more company like XYZ company. So they can also
They can request the CA who has issued them the certificate to add the other domains into it. They can do that.
okay.
Okay, not an issue.
Not-
Okay.
Thank
Yeah, now see, for an example, I just need 20 more minutes, okay? Do not worry, I will just wrap up, okay? I just wanted to complete the certificate part and henceforth we will continue further, okay? Now see here, let's say I opened a company called xyz.com, okay? So one of the user, okay? Hey, I draw a wrong figure, man. Okay, let me go in this way. So I have a server here. Okay, and it is hosting my xyz.com domain. Okay, that server is behind the FortiGate firewall, and of course you are here, ISP, and this is also connected to another FortiGate firewall. Okay, I will not make it complicated. Let me remove this. Let's get back to that only. You are working in a company, okay? Now here I have a server. That server is xyz.com. Okay, now you have a PC. Now you are accessing my website to do some stuffs and all, so you are doing that. Okay, now my website got reported because of spam and phishing activity that was going on to my websites and all. My website got reported. Okay, and because my website was indulged in the wrong activity, okay, compromising some networks and all that my website is involved upon. So the CA revoked my certificate. Okay, you can think that is in this way. Okay, that let's say someone is a terrorist, right? He did some terror activity and he tried to fled from the country. Government of India will do what? He will revoke all his documents, passports and all, so that he cannot cross the countries, and like wherever he wants to travel using that document, he will be flagged, right? Right? That is what they will do. Yes or no? So the same thing, okay? My website, my server got reported because of a spam and phishing activity, and my certificate got revoked. They said, hey, this website is not good, so I'm canceling his certificate. Okay, he revoked that certificate, right? But I still have that certificate into my database. He cannot take that certificate away from me, right? Yes or no? Just 20 more minutes, man, okay? I don't need much more time. Just 20 more minutes. Just give me yes or no and I will proceed further. Moving to issue. This is very small thing that I want to just complete and it's all done then. Okay? We will then catch up on Monday. Just for 20 minutes, bear with me. Just, okay? Revoked. So if the certificate is revoked, but I still have that certificate. Let's say initially that certificate was issued to me, which was valid till the year 2025. Okay, that was valid till 2025. But today only, on 7th of Jan 2023, my certificate got revoked. Okay, but I still hold that certificate. So
Yes.
if you are the PC, if let's say this is a person who was accessing my server, okay, so when he tries to access me, I will send him the same certificate, right?
Correct. Correct.
So he will check that certificate and okay, is that certificate belongs to xyz.com? Yes. The subject name says yes, it is. Okay, this certificate has a validity date till what? 2025. Okay, it is 2023. So yes, it is still valid. Okay, this certificate has been issued by whom? Certain CA. Okay, so let me take his public IP, public key, and I calculate the digital signature, right? And when he will do, he will find the hash match, right? Because after all, this certificate was issued by him in the first place, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, yes. Sure.
So that means the certificate will pass all the checks and he will keep on using my website.
Website,
Thinking
correct.
it's a trusted one, right? But is it the case? No.
No.
So in order to address such a situation, apart from the checks which I just told you, there are other certificate checks or validity checks that is performed. What are those checks? Those checks are, there are 3 ways to check it, okay? I will come one by one. First one is CRL, okay? I'm at maximum, okay? CRL, okay? CRL is called as Certificate Revocation List.
List.
So what this is, say, whenever a CA revokes a certificate, every certificate is issued with a unique serial number. No two certificate will have a same serial number, okay? Every time a certificate is issued, it will always has a unique serial number. So what it will do is, it will make an entry into a CRL, okay, that hey, this certificate with so and so serial number is revoked. Okay, that is what it will maintain an entry. Now, your browser will not only confirm all these things, but at the same time, it will also check in the CRL list that whether the certificate which I am receiving, does that certificate is listed into the CRL? You can think CRL as if it's a blacklist, okay, that the certificate has been removed or blacklisted. Okay, now let me show you how does it know. If I go into that certificate here, see here, there you will see certificate revocation entry as well. See here, CRL distribution points. Do you see this? CRL distribution points.
Yes.
Now, if you see here, URL. Do you see this URL? So the certificate contains a CRL link. Okay. If I copy this and if I try to open this link, you will see a CRL list will be downloaded. Do you see the downloads here?
Yes.
Okay. If I open that, see here, this is a certificate revocation list information. And if I go in revocation list, you can see how all the certificates that is listed here is maintained. Right? If I click on any of that, see, you can see serial number is this. This certificate has been revoked on 30th December at this date and time. Clear? So if your certificate serial number, okay, I'm again saying if your certificate serial number, see here is the serial number, is found into the revocation list, your certificate will be not trusted. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, so that is how it is going to check. Now, there is one challenge here. What is the challenge? This is a good thing. Okay, you maintained an entry and everything was working fine and all. Okay, fine. But the challenge is, what if my system is holding the older cache of CRL? So it do not has a new CRL list, right? Or maybe the CA revoked that, it maintained an entry into the CRL. Now that CRL list has to be refreshed so that when any of the client wants to check with the latest CRL, then they will get the latest information, right? Assume it took around 5 minutes to get a new refresh CRL, okay? But during that 5 minutes, my certificate is still valid,
Yes.
right? So there is a window that still the people are using my website thinking that it's a safe, right? So that means CRL do not gives me real-time check. I cannot do a real-time check of a certificate using a CRL. So what's the method then? How would I get the real time? In order to address this challenge, to do a real-time check of the certificates, there was a protocol that was introduced as OCSP. Okay, online certificate score protocol, or I think online certificate is status protocol, something to that. Okay, this is the full form. Now, I think it is a status only, online certificate status protocol. Okay, now see what the OCSP says. OCSP is saying that, okay, fine, you have a PC, okay, this is connected to the internet, you are trying to access any server, okay, there is a CA authority somewhere sitting, okay, the CA authority is there. So when the server is sending, okay, when the server is sending the certificate and the certificate is received onto the PC, PC will do one thing. PC will generate a, oh sorry, just wait please. PC will generate a OCSP query. OCSP query. Okay, it will generate a OCSP query. And the OCSP query is for that, hey, is this certificate valid? So he knows, as per the certificate that it has received, he knows that who has issued that certificate, right?
Yes.
He knows about the CA, so he will send an OCSP query to that CA. Hey, is that certificate valid? The CA will check that serial number into its database and it will say, hey, it will send a response saying it is valid or it is not valid, right? So it's a real-time check.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's done. The issue is solved here. Now
Yes.
the PC cannot be compromised. It knows exactly when the certificate has been revoked, real-time check. Okay. Now, OCSP helped me to get the real-time, but it also caused few of the issues. Can anyone tell me in this approach what is the issue? Do you see any challenge here with this approach? It solved real-time issue, but it also created multiple issues at the same time. Let me tell you, without wasting your much time, okay? The issue is now it increased the latency into your network. How? See, now since you have to verify the certificate on the real time, hence the PC will not be sending the further packet to the server unless it get a response from CA cert. That means you are sending a query message and you are waiting for the reply.
Yes.
Even that took 0.5 seconds. That
There
means
is a-
you are adding a delay of 0.5 seconds into your network,
Yes. Yes.
right? And not only that, assume if you have sent the query, but somehow the CA, the reply is not received on the PC, then the PC is still waiting. The
Correct.
PC again send an OCSP query. So it may increase your latency up to 2 to 3 seconds till the time it has got a reply, right?
Yeah.
So the first challenge is latency. It is increasing the latency into your network. Second challenge, your PC is now occupied to perform an OCSP query. Not only that, think of the CA. If the CA is the person who has issued the google.com certificate, the CA is screwed. How? If in a second, 10 million people are saying that, hey, is Google's certificate valid? Is Google certificate valid? He is saying, yes, 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 yes. So the CA workload is increased.
Correct.
We have increased the workload on the CA, right? And once the CA workload is increased, that means there is a possibility that you may not get a reply. Everyone will not get a reply at the quickest possible time, and hence latency is increased, right? Right?
Yes. Yes. Correct.
So OCSP helped you to resolve the real time, but still it is causing the overload on the client machine as well as on the CA authority server. At the same time, it is also increasing the latency. So what to do now? Shall I go back to the CRL? I can, but there I am not getting the real-time checks. So I want all the things. That is when the third and the latest method that is being used right now is OCSP stapling. You might not have heard of this term, okay? But see, OCSP stapling is what? OCSP stapling is a very good concept, okay? The name is staple. If you have 2 pages, what you're going to do? You're going to staple.
Yes.
Now, see, OCSP stapling, I will just give you an insight, okay? You do not need to know in much more depth and all, but why I'm telling you all this, I will let you know. See, OCSP stapling. The reason behind, see, how does it work? OCSP stapling. OCSP stapling says that, look, if you have a PC, you have a CA and you have a server, right? They all are connected on the internet. Now, the server, okay, the server, let's say this is a Google server, okay? So the server will say to the CA that, hey, look, he will generate a query. Okay, he will generate a query saying that, hey, you please put a note. Okay, it's kind of, you just write on my certificate that this certificate is valid for so and so time, and this is confirmed as per real information that this has been checked up to this date, and as per this will be valid for so and so. So it's a note. So CA will get that server certificate and it will write a small note that this certificate is valid for so and so date and till and time, and this certificate is valid. Okay, and it will staple that note here. Okay, that means it will attach that small note into the certificate and then it will send that stapled certificate to the server. Now, when any client wants to access the Google, at that time, when the Google will send the certificate, he will actually send the certificate which contains that staple note. Okay.
Yes.
Now, when that stapled certificate is received here, now the PC has to verify the certificate, and it will also see a note attached to it. That note is written by CA, right? So the PC has also confirmed the real-time check with that note. Now the PC do not has to raise any query.
Yes, correct.
Now, since the PC do not has to raise a query, hence the CA also do not has to answer to every queries. Because CA now, instead of answering all the clients, CA is only answering to Google server, right? That is only one server, which he can do.
Yes, correct.
Instead of responding to hundreds of millions of Google users, he is only responding to Google. So the workload of CA is reduced.
Yeah.
Meantime, since the PC do not has to depend upon the OCSP query and response, hence there is no chance of latency increment.
Correct.
Right? So it is verifying the certificate and it is success that exchange of data is going on. Correct?
Yeah.
This is what is called OCSP stapling. Okay, which is used latest one. Okay. Now, how would you know that, hey, do I have to use OCSP or OCSP stapling and all kinds of thing? It is not under your control. We do not have to worry for that. Okay, this is something which will be managed by the web server team. Okay, we do not have to worry onto that. But you should know how does a certificate is verified. Okay, so it's not only with the CRM, but there are two other things, that is OCSP and OCSP stapling. No one uses this now. Everyone uses OCSP stapling and CRM. CRL is still used. It is widely used. Okay, and if there is a certain server who is willing to go with an OCSP stapling mechanism, they can also do that. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so I rest my case of the certificates here. Okay, day after tomorrow, I believe Sunday we will let's have a rest, and on Monday we'll continue at the same time 9 p.m. Okay, so there we will continue further with the SSLs and all. Okay, that how the certificate we will be using in our concepts. Okay, but please revise this class if in case you want to have a just go through the certificates. Okay, because this is important. Okay, you should know how a certificate is generated, how a certificate is issued, and how a certificate is verified. These three things you should know. Okay, because if you are saying you are a network security engineer, no matter which interview you attempt, they are going to ask you the certificate questions. Okay, so this is what they are going to focus upon. Okay, again, whatever I have told you with reference to certificates, that is will not be asked into your NSE 4 or NSE 7 interview examinations. Okay, they are not going to ask you the certificate level questions. Okay, it's only for our understanding, because unless you do not know the certificates, we cannot proceed into the UTM. Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Okay, fine then. So no, there is no session tomorrow, but if you want, I can have, but it's up to you all. Okay, it's up to you people, man. Do you want to have session tomorrow, or do you want to have off tomorrow?
It's totally depend upon your availability. So
I know, man. I am there. Okay, I love to teach. Okay, so for me, you want to ask me to take a class at 2 or midnight, I can do it. I am into it. Okay, so not an issue with me. So it's up to you guys. Okay, tomorrow is Sunday. If you want to take a rest, you can take a rest. Or if it's like decide what we have learned till now, you can just go through and have a brush up. It's up to you. How do you want to proceed?
I think nobody wants to have a class tomorrow. So
It's fine. If a single person do not want, no class. Okay, that's not a force. Okay. My approach is not strictly with a classroom kind of an theme. Okay, I don't follow any time concept. Okay, so as per standard, I should have taken 2 hours class, but if you guys are willing to go for 6 hours, I'm okay with 6 hours. Okay, so that is how I go. Okay, so because if I do not have any work, what I will do sitting. But yes, since you have given me the leverage not to take class tomorrow, so I have few of the seasons pending that I have to watch. So I will just shut down.
no, you can take on Monday. No issues.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Well
Thank
done.
you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.